right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Mallard Bay. I am Jeff Stanfield with the world-famous Andy Shaver.
I'm here. Nice, cool morning. Winter's back in Texas now.
Yeah, it was 95 degrees on Monday. It's Wednesday morning, and the wind chill is below freezing.
And prayers to everybody affected in Amarillo, the Panhandle. It's a bad, bad deal, and it sounds like it's only going to get worse. 0% contained right now.
Yep. I think they've got 500,000 acres on fire.
Jeez.
It's a bad, bad, bad deal.
Terrible.
With us today from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and Mallard Bay, our newest sponsor for the Big Honker Podcast, our friend, Mr. Wyatt Mallett. How are you doing?
Yes, sir. Doing great. How are you?
Used to be Ryan's cousin until he passed away, right?
Until he passed away. Not anymore. I don't claim him anymore.
Yeah. We got a guy that works for us that claims Joe Burrow all the time, but I'm starting to think that's a little fugazi.
A little closer to Joe than I am Ryan, I'll tell you that.
You know Joe.
I do. I know Joe worked for the football team in college. I was a student videographer for 4 years during championship year, all that. So got to know Joe pretty well and many other guys on the team. And it was a fun time.
So how did you get that job?
Yeah, so I was on my senior trip. Me and my family decided to go on a cruise. Ended up meeting the guy, film coordinator from Georgia Tech, Mr. Todd McCarthy, and he was like, "Look, Wyatt, I really like you. I think you'd enjoy hanging out with the team and videoing for us, and I'd like to offer you a full ride scholarship to Georgia Tech to film football." Right,
the Ramblin' Wreck.
That's right. I'd never filmed anything in my life. Right. I took one media class in high school, and we reproduced Ferris Bueller's Day Off in Lake Charles, and that was a fun time. But other than that, I had no camera work, and so I said, "Look, Mr. Todd, I really appreciate the opportunity." I had a small scholarship to a small D3 school in Oklahoma for wrestling, and so I was like, "You know what, man? I passed up that to go to LSU as my dream school." And he was like, "Well, look, no worries at all. I completely understand." But he was like, "I know the guy at LSU." So I went and had an interview with him and got hired at the end of the interview, and that's what I did throughout college, and it was a great time. A lot of fun stuff inside the football, kind of curtain, I guess, of LSU, and learned a lot. And
okay, my question about this whole thing I've taken away, other than it's really cool deal what you did, who was the hot chick in Ferris Bueller in school? Did y'all reincarnate her? Did y'all do the hot tub scene?
We did not do the hot tub scene. No, we did not do the hot tub scene. It was actually we switched it to a pool. So we kind of we took every little scene and kind of threw our little Lake Charles flair on it. Instead of a Ferrari, we had a tandem bicycle. I was Ferris's dad in the movie, so I did the little the
Ferris,
twist and
so
shout dance. I know, right? I know. Instead of the hockey, what was the hockey jersey he was wearing? Was it
the Detroit Red Wings?
That's right, the Red Wings. We had an old semi-pro Lake Charles team, the Lake Charles Ice Pirates. So we had an old Ice Pirates jersey that our guy wore.
Have you ever seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Seen parts of it.
It was a good show back in the day. There was a hot brunette in there with him, though.
Sloan, right?
Sloan, that was her name. Yep, Sloan. And they had to sneak him out of school, played like he was Sloan's dad to get her away from school. Yeah.
That's right.
Did y'all put the car backwards and turn it on and let it run through the building?
No.
Or the bicycle, I guess.
I think we threw the bike in the movie. It was an hour and 9 minutes. We scripted, acted, filmed it, edited, and all that kind of stuff.
Was that a Ferrari or was that an old Corvette they had?
That was a Ferrari. It was a Ferrari.
That was a very cool show for that time. That was the age I grew up in, so it was top deal. But I was never a Matthew Broderick fan.
I hear you.
And he's in it, right?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah,
was he Ferris? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to think who's he married to? Is he married to Sarah Jessica Parker, the chick from Sex and the City?
Believe so.
Yeah. I'll tell you the one that's done something. I know we've gotten way off topic, which is the way we do all the time. It's John Cryer that's on 2.5 Men.
Yes.
You ever see Pretty in Pink? He plays Ducky on that show.
Why does that sound so familiar?
He's made a lot of money off of 2.5 Men. I watched a show the other day called Bookies. Have you seen that yet? That's on. It's on either Amazon Prime or it's on one of the streaming deals, and it's about a guy that's a bookmaker in Los Angeles, and Charlie Sheen owes him a bunch of money, so they have to go to a rehab deal. And Charlie Sheen plays Charlie Sheen. And he's at a rehab, and he's got a game going at the rehab place. And Angus, the kid from 2.5 Men's playing poker with him.
Oh,
that's
really?
funny.
He's a fat loaf now.
He is?
Oh, he fits the word Angus.
Oh, well, yeah.
That's funny.
Anyway, so you went to LSU.
Yes, sir.
And you got to hang out with all the athletes.
I did.
Who's the coolest of all the athletes that you? A guy that you would have a man crush on that was really that kind of cool dude. That you think
I didn't really. A man crush. I don't know. I mean, everybody had a crush on Joe Burrow, but Joe Burrow never went out or anything like that. So it was kind of funny. Everybody was trying to figure out where he lived and that kind of thing. But I would probably say my best friend on the team was Torrey Carter. He was number 44, fullback for LSU. Valdosta, Georgia, came out of high school, played both sides and came to LSU and played fullback. And it's always like I used to love, he used to wear this hat called Run the Damn Ball, right? You know, it's like I just love the aspect of fullback. I played a little bit of fullback growing up, and just that hard nose, run it up the middle kind of football they play that sadly is not really a thing anymore in football. He just was all aspects of that in playing, just hard nose, knocking people out. You know, kickoff team. Hey, I'm pointing at him. It's you. You know.
Yeah.
And I just love violent physical football.
That
the fullback has an unsexy job.
Do the Chiefs even have a fullback?
Probably
because the 49ers have what's his name? Juszczyk, and everybody loves him.
Yeah.
The Cowboys had Darryl Johnson. I mean, there's fullbacks have been, but I think the Titans still run a fullback. Very few teams run a fullback.
He got picked up by the Titans.
Yeah, they still run a fullback. They run the ball a lot.
He got picked up by the Titans, and I want to say he played there for a year or two, and just recently got cut. I saw him at Turkey Show. His girlfriend's dad, I believe, is the president of NWTF, or he's one of the higher up guys.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, if you pick an NFL player to fight, fullback is not the guy to pick.
Not at all.
No, pick somebody else.
I would say fullbacks and probably safeties or cornerbacks are the guys I wouldn't want to fight.
Well, I mean, if you put a fullback in, his job is just wrecking.
Oh, yeah.
Just go hit that guy.
Make shit happen.
Be a bowling ball.
I think Baltimore runs a fullback every play too, which they run the ball a lot. You have to. It's kind of it'll have a comeback again where we'll start seeing fullbacks again.
I think so.
And they're just built like a fucking brick shit house.
Oh, yeah.
All of them.
Absolutely.
I mean, 6 foot, 250. I mean, just wide shoulders and just go be violent.
Oh, dude, it was funny too because Torrey he'd eye black it up all the way down, and he's got an arm sleeve. He's got Indian heritage, so he's got a Native American tattoo of a like a raven crow on top of a guy, and he's got the eye black coming down. And I remember one night we were out drinking, and we get back to his house, and he got all serious with me, man. And he's like, do people think I'm like scary? Like, do people not like me because I look like this? And I'm like, no, dude, like that's just you on the football field, kind of thing. And that was just the funny moment, man. That was good.
Joe probably couldn't go out though, could he?
No. So Coach O called it Tiger Country, and it's Tiger Land. It's our kind of collection of bars. You guys will be there with me at Fred's, July 26th, that Friday of Delta Waterfowl. We're throwing an event there. But anyway, we've got the house, JL's, Mike's, used to be Reggie's. Reggie's isn't a thing anymore, and then Fred's. And, Coach O would be, you better not go to Tiger Country. He'd get on everybody, and he'd say, stay off that Twitter machine and don't go to Tiger Country.
Stay off of the Twitter machine.
The Twitter machine. So I went out with Joe one time, and, man, we got torn up at the house.
Really?
And that was the only time I ever went out with him, or at least knew about him going out.
He come from a pretty poor family, didn't he?
I'm not 100% sure. I've heard that before. I don't really know. I don't know him that well.
Well, when they did the NFL draft, that was the COVID year, and they did the draft, and he was at his house, and it was nothing like a lot of kids would rent a big, nice suite and stuff. He was in a regular home.
Right.
I'm not saying he was like poor, but he just did not look like he come from an up to like just a regular working family.
Right.
It looked like.
Right. And I think that goes to just to speak about his humbleness, man. He was always that kind of. It's just football. He just real low key guy. In fact, every party I was at with him there, he'd have one beer in his hand all night, and he'd be on his phone. And he'd have that beer in his hand just so people wouldn't bring him another drink.
Really?
What do you think? You think if they almost canceled football season that year?
They did. It was
if it wouldn't have been for the athletic directors at those schools and those presidents of those universities telling people, hey, this is the thing with sports. If we don't play football that year, them schools are going to they're going to have to file bankruptcy. I know Texas Tech, their president and their AD was really adamant about that. It's like, listen, if you cancel our football season this year, they lose their TV money. He goes, we're done. We're going to get everything at our campus. Every athletic program is going to have to be on bankrupt. We're finished. And we're not going to be the only one. It's going to be every. I think the University of Texas, Ohio State, and probably A&M might have been 4 schools that could have survived 1 year without playing football.
Yeah, it was close. We had a lot of very serious team meetings
about that,
and it was just like because Coach O was really good about bringing everybody in. I mean, it was the video team, the trainers, the equipment staff. Everybody was one team, one heartbeat was his thing. And he was like, guys, like, don't listen to the Twitter machine. Don't listen to the everybody talking about what's going on. Everything that's going to go on is going to go on in here. And what stays, happens in here stays in here kind of thing. And, for a while, I mean, we didn't think we were going to have a season.
Right.
We were kind of doing, like summer camp stuff, summer workouts and stuff like that. And we're just like, dude, we don't know if we're going to be working this year. So there's just a lot of up in the air about that time.
So how does that work for you as a student? Are you compensated as far as like tuition, or you get a paycheck?
So basically, it was one of those things where you're working for a scholarship. So the first year, usually how it is you work for a couple years. We could only log in, I think it was 20 hours a week at minimum wage, but we'd work like 50 or 60. I mean, anytime the athletes were there doing something, we were videoing, and it just kind of happened where I got my full ride sophomore year. So we had a lot of guys graduate. It was a heavy staff. When I joined up, I actually didn't film home games my freshman year. So I had my freshman year, I enjoyed watching games in the student section. Usually you film every home game, or at least you're working every home game.
Right.
And I just kind of, luck of the draw, had a few things happen amongst video staff, and I got lucky, and me and another guy I entered with at the same time, we got our scholarships the same year, and we just went on through that.
And it's a full ride.
Full ride.
Do you think, I've read a deal about this one that's pretty interesting. If they would have canceled football season that year, we'd have never known who Joe Burrow was.
Yeah.
Because did he have 2 years left at LSU?
He had 2 years.
And everything was perfect, because there were seniors on that team that were going to go to pro. They weren't going to stay around.
Right.
Justin Jefferson was one of them, right?
I'm not sure if he was going to declare. Or I know he was a senior at the time. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, so he would have been done. So that would have hurt Joe Burrow. But everything fell into place for Joe Burrow, or we'd have never known, because Joe Burrow was an unknown commodity. Outside of probably college coaches knew what they had.
Right.
But nobody else knew Joe Burrow. Had you ever heard of him before it started?
No, I mean, he was overshadowed at Ohio State. I mean, no one knew who he was.
And Ohio State does not produce NFL quarterbacks. We're seeing that now. Justin Fields is going to get traded, and someone's going to give a first-round pick for him, and they're going to be awful disappointed in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Even his cousin. I never heard Blake ever mention Joe Burrow until Joe Burrow was famous. That was his cousin.
Have you seen this clip of Coach O? It's the best clip that's out there.
Which door you want me to walk out of?
What? Why is it not? There it goes. Well, play, damn it.
Some coaches got 50 years. Some coaches got 12. Mine was 6. Good. I got to tell you, we had a meeting. Say, Coach, things are not going well. Say, Coach, you got $17.1 million on your contract. We're going to give it to you. I said, what time you want me to leave and what door you want me out of?
That's right.
Was he like that all the time?
Every second of every day.
So he is the real deal.
He
So
is.
what you hear is what you see.
What you
They
hear is
put
what you
sad
see.
music to it, but like it's a funny clip. He's like,
Shoot, I'll
what
be
time
sad
you
all
want me
day
to-
for $17 million.
Yeah, what time you want me to leave and what door you want me out of?
Yeah,
right.
you want to write me a check for just $3 million right now? I'll walk out that fucking door from
I'll probably
Stanfield.
cry out of here.
Yeah. $17 million to walk away.
Yep.
And he was helping Baylor last year. Somebody I saw him on at practice.
I don't remember where he was. He's living life though.
Now he's banging some hot chick.
He's got a hot girlfriend.
He
about
does
his
have a
wife.
young girlfriend, yeah. I guess they're married now.
Did you know
they?
who she was?
I didn't. Never met her. It was one of those things where you don't talk about it. You
Yeah.
know, it was very locked up.
Now I'm going to talk about something else controversial at LSU. Nick Saban had a girlfriend when he was there. I heard that's why they ran him off the first time. Is that a rumor mill?
I
or is
haven't
that true?
heard that. I didn't hear that.
That's what I'd heard. I don't know how true it is or not, but that was one of the reasons he left. Was he was sleeping with the athletic director's wife or somebody else. And I don't know that's true. I don't know Nick Saban at all.
Here goes Jeff starting the rumor mill.
He is a great coach, but there is a story about Nick Saban in a private airport and somebody's wife.
Yeah,
that's all I know. But I don't know. I know that you can't tell me at LSU they were proud to see Nick Saban leave.
No, they weren't. And I don't know if it was a political thing. I don't really know. You know, you hear rumors. And
Well, he
stuff
left
like
on
that,
his own
but-
accord. They didn't. They didn't fire him.
No.
But I think they kind of.
I don't know if they were
nudged him.
kind of like, hey, come on, you know, they're
Right.
kind of, but yeah, you know, and I think Saban, just talking about Saban, I mean, look, as an LSU fan, I think he's literally the devil. But all in all, he's the best college football coach of all time,
I
in
think
my
so, too.
opinion.
I-
And you know, I don't think NIL has any correlation with him leaving Alabama, but I think that NIL is a reason why he wasn't wanting to stay any longer.
Right.
Because, I mean, growing up, it's like, hey, you go to school, you earn your way to a scholarship. And that was kind of what you're paid to do, is you're paid to play football by getting your school and education paid for. And look, don't get me wrong, guys. I mean, those guys got paid. Like, they got a stipend every month for rent and stuff like that. And it was more than just for rent, right? But when you take NIL and you give a player, a college kid, $1 million, or I mean, I don't even know what Livy Dunn's made now, millions. But when you give them that freedom, it's like, I mean, NFL guys look at their coach almost like in a respect way.
You don't have leverage.
You don't have any leverage. Yeah, you can't tell a kid to do something. He's like, dude, I got $1 million, screw off,
Someone that hunted with us one time coached pro football for a while, and I can't remember which coach it was, but he wasn't a head coach. He was an assistant coach somewhere. And he was telling me about the contracts. He said, you get a guy that's a 5th or 6th round of free agent, he said, that kid's going to bust his ass to try to get that contract. He didn't get the big guys. But he said, them first-round guys, they're paid. He says, it takes a different animal that's a first-round player to really keep working hard, because they want that second big contract. And then they want that crucial last third big contract.
That's right.
Because after 3 big contracts, other than unless you're Kirk Cousins, you don't get a third big contract. No. And he said, that's the difference. He goes, there's a lot of guys more talented that never get their second big deal because they don't give a shit no more. Here's a kid that grew up poor, didn't have nothing, and he gets $10 million signing bonus. Back when Jamarcus Russell was with the Raiders, I think he got $40 million signing bonus. What incentive is that if you really don't like football? We talked.
Yeah.
Our friend Chandler Phillips plays golf. He don't really like golf's not his favorite thing in his life. It's a job.
Hunting is.
Yeah. And so if you got a guy playing football, well, the other Trey Waynes, football wasn't that important to him either.
They get their money and they figure out because everybody's different. Like some people, Tom Brady's just a freak.
Oh yeah.
I mean, to do it at a high level and like up his level of game every year, and you're set. Like I don't know, but some people just they see those dollar signs, the zeros in the bank account, and they're like, I'm good.
Yeah, especially when it's guaranteed. You know, it's like then they can't take it away.
Right.
You've already got paid.
Yep.
Speaking of Tom Brady, have you seen his 40-yard dash from the combine?
That's
NFL
terrible.
combine? Dude, I've seen it so many times.
Terrible.
It's so
Have you
funny,
seen,
man.
Have you seen Mahomes' picture with his wife in Mexico?
You were telling me about that.
You got a better looking body. I'm telling you right now, Andy, with your shirt off and stuff, if you were about 6'3", people would be like, I wonder if he plays pro ball. He's a good looking athletic kid. Mahomes looks like the guy working down at fucking Midas Brakes.
Well, they had a picture of him after the Baltimore game, maybe.
Put up there.
And he's like, come on, guys, I've got children. So Livy Dunn, back to her, $3.3 million.
Okay.
That's her NIL deal.
Yeah.
I wonder what Reese, what's a chick that plays basketball, Reese?
Oh, Angel Reese. Yeah.
I bet she makes that much or more. She got a lot of fucking attitude, though.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of just comes with the territory.
She's got a lot of it.
Yeah, she does.
And I'm sure Caitlin Clark does too.
Oh, I mean, she had to learn from somewhere.
But they've got a lot of attitude. Okay, speaking of Tom Brady, now you're Tom Brady. You're on top of the world, right? Greatest NFL quarterback of all time.
Wife was cheating on him.
Yeah,
isn't that crazy?
Time. Yeah,
there's
look at this.
Put the one on the boat with his wife. He just had one taken yesterday with him.
Really?
They were. She's in a bikini. She looks pretty good looking too.
She's on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Well, she's on this boat, and I think they're in Cabo or somewhere. Just Patrick Mahomes, Brittany Mahomes vacation pics because it'll come up.
Mexico or just vacation?
I think it's just vacation pics.
Poor guy.
Was Taylor and Travis with him too?
Didn't show them. I think they're in Japan putting on a Satan tour or some shit. I don't know what's going on with them.
Jeff, I don't know which one you're.
The one with him. The one with him, his shirt off.
Well, there's a bunch. I mean, he's a young guy and he goes and travels.
The third one maybe.
This one?
Yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah, he's got it kind of covered up there. There's one of him on the side, and he's got the legit. I mean, he looks like
the name of that article.
What is
Patrick Mahomes kisses Brittany Matthews in cozy vacation pics.
Maybe that's an old one. I don't know.
No, that's the actual ones, but there's another picture of him that's not. It's a side view, and it's not his good side.
I see.
I'm telling you.
I see.
But in his defense, like all you give a shit about on Mahomes is his right arm.
Ain't nobody gives two shits about him. Same with Tom Brady running the 40. If you can throw a fucking ball and you're smart,
no doubt about it.
Because that cat is smart right there.
Yeah.
Mahomes is a smart son of a gun. He plays smart. And the same with Mahomes. Anyways, Tom Brady's wife had been cheating on him with the Here you are, the greatest football player ever. And everybody's like, oh, man, he's got the greatest thing on. And his wife's banging a jiu-jitsu guy.
That's just ridiculous.
The whole time.
That just goes to tell you. You get those wrestlers.
Hey man,
get those wrestlers. What's Tom Brady gonna do? If they're in a dark alley one night and somebody comes at him with a knife, Tom, you got to give it the jiu-jitsu guy.
And you
throw money at him, maybe. I don't know.
The rumor is who he's messing around with.
Who?
Kim Kardashian.
Really?
Now
I don't think he'd want that headache.
I don't either. Now, he does always like women that have more money than he does, and she's got more money than he's got.
She does.
She's a billionaire, I think.
Oh, I know that, but Tom seems very private about his life, and she is not.
No, at all. And you know what? Could you imagine? Now, I think Kim Kardashian is a sexy lady. The pictures of her but she's always make-upped up and stuff. But she's a pretty woman, but she's a whore.
I mean,
Is anybody going to argue that?
I mean,
the definition
Of what?
of a whore is
For what?
sex for money.
Well, how do you think she got her start?
That's what I'm saying.
Ray J. You know,
was-
that
Ray
video,
J.
yeah,
Joan
yeah.
Rivers talked about it.
Yeah, yeah.
What's bad is her mom pimped her out, basically.
Yeah, her mom's nothing but a damn pimp. All her daughters.
I mean, it's sad to say, but I mean, her. That's what she did.
If you're her mom, you got to look at your family and think, wow, I got a son that that married a black stripper that have had all kinds of problems, a black China and whatever, Fat Rob now. And then my daughter has got more black penises put in her than a Greyhound bus stop anywhere, urinal. And
Now-
they're all whores, and she made her money selling her body. And my husband decided he wanted to wear a fucking dress and leave me the greatest athlete in the world. Her mom's a fuck up.
That's wild to me. That whole thing is wild. But Joan Rivers, she's an actress, right? The
She was,
celebrity actress.
she was a comedian.
Oh.
And she's the one that come out and said Michelle Obama had a schlong.
I was about to say, and then she got killed.
Yep.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
She went in
Clinton.
for like a knee surgery or something.
Yeah.
Something real, some surgery that minimally invasive, and she
Right.
somehow
Hillary Clinton's doctor, probably.
died. Died on the operating table.
Andrew Breitbart. Do you know who he was?
I don't.
Breitbart News. It was he was a
That's Joan
Yeah,
Rivers.
that's her. Yeah.
Andrew Breitbart was kind of like a Alex Jones type, but a lot more well liked, respected journalism. He had a lot of shit going on the crooked ass politicians on both sides.
Yeah.
He went jogging and had a heart attack and died. And they've always speculated that was that CIA heart attack.
I was about
gun.
to say, yeah, that thing is it's wild that that's real. Like they actually said this is a real thing.
The heart attack gun or whatever it is.
Well, look at the Clintons. How many people have died? They're close to. You're 25 years old, right?
Yes, sir.
You hung out with a bunch of celebrities at LSU.
I have.
You've known a lot of people. How many people do you know that have committed suicide that are around you that personally you know?
One.
Okay, one. They've got like 300 close associates.
For no reason too.
I know maybe 4 people that I know more people that's committed suicide than 4, but people that I'm actually really good friends with, I don't know that I've ever had a really good friend of mine kill himself.
No, and thank God, man. That's
That's
the
a
worst thing
horrible
in the world.
fucking
Yeah.
deal. It's like a car wreck. I mean, there's a family. It just comes from nowhere. But nobody ever thinks of them as having.
No.
But all those people around them that just die.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where I guess you really never know what's going on through somebody's head. I mean, think about like some of the celebrities like Anthony Bourdain or.
Do you think he killed
Chester
himself?
from
Though?
Link? I don't know.
I do.
I don't know.
You think he did do it?
Yeah, because he was in a really dark place. He got dumped by his girlfriend. They were really, really people that were close to Anthony Bourdain. I've watched. There's on HBO Max. They did a documentary after he died of all of his really, really close friends, and they said like he got so attached to this girl, and he got too attached basically, and like ran her off. And like he was just in a really, really dark place after that, and so I think he killed himself.
He was one cool son of a bitch, and I would have loved to had a podcast with him and visit him. And he is absolutely. I have zero in common with that dude. I've never done drugs. He's skinny and was a good looking guy.
He was also a jiu-jitsu guy,
I didn't know that.
blue belt.
He was a really cool dude. I love his show. I still watch him all the time, but absolutely have nothing in common. But I thought he was really good.
Yeah.
Guys, I got to go get rid of some migas.
Here's the death list while Jeff is away.
The Clinton death pool.
The
Here we go.
Yeah, Clinton Deadpool. So you got him. You got James McDougal, Clinton convicted Whitewater partner, heart attack. Then you got the guy that was murdered.
Where's Epstein at on this list?
Epstein was on another list that I saw.
Okay.
Found dead, suicide, number 10. Gunshot suicide. Head of Clinton gubernatorial secretary team in Little Rock, gunned down in his car. And then like you go to their old bodyguard. So if you go all the way down here, former bodyguards
Holy
also
shit,
dead. So, I
huh?
mean, like they've
11
had
of them.
11 dead bodyguards that just nobody knows, just passed away.
Conway LeBlue. So I got a wild story about Conway LeBlue.
Oh, down here, number 45.
Yeah. So Conway LeBlue, if I'm thinking of the same Conway LeBlue, that was he. We might have to look this one up, but he might have been in the David Koresh, the Waco thing.
I can look it
If
up
I'm
real
thinking of the
quick.
same one, because I went to school with a kid named Conway LeBlue, and that was his. I can't remember if it was uncle or his grandpa. It was him.
And he was in the Koresh thing?
I believe so. I believe he was one of the ATF agents that got killed in that.
Oh, really? Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Conway LeBlue,
Yeah.
ATF.
Yep. So his, I want to say it was his grandson was also named Conway. Yeah, he wrestled with me when I was in high school. We went to St. Louis together in Lake Charles, and it was just like the most wild thing ever. That I can't remember if his uncle or his grandpa, but anyway, he was killed in the Waco thing.
Oh, he was really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Have you seen the documentaries on that Waco thing?
I haven't seen the show. The show's called Waco, right?
Yeah, it's called Waco.
Yeah.
So I've got some friends, and like they messaged my wife out of the blue. I've never been to Waco, Texas. I mean, I might have driven through it when I was a kid, maybe, but I've never done anything there. But they're like, "Yeah, we're thinking about vacationing, or we're going to be in Waco. Is there anything to do?" And I'm like, "I don't fucking know." Like, I guess they watch Chip and Joanne, so now everybody's going to Waco to see the Magnolia. I don't know. I've never been there. But yeah, Anthony Bourdain, he got fucking jacked. Let me see. Oh, here I was gonna pull it up. Anthony Bourdain, jiu-jitsu. Like he had a fucking 6-pack. He quit smoking. Because you said you wrestled in high school.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And-
Fifth grade through senior year. Yeah.
Here he is, right here. But yeah, he was a blue belt.
Oh wow, yeah.
And I mean, like competing in older divisions, and I mean, you can see right here.
Oh yeah, look, he's ripped.
He's fucking. I mean, he got jacked. But that was his. I think that was his final girlfriend.
Oh wow, yeah.
She was an actress and just fucked with his head. But
Yeah.
quit smoking. I mean, I don't know if he quit drinking, but
Yeah.
I mean, jiu-jitsu changed his life. Have you ever thought about doing jiu-jitsu with your wrestling background?
I have thought about it. One of our guys, Bennett. Bennett's from Lafayette. One of the first guys on team at Mallard Bay. He's a big jiu-jitsu guy. Him and I mean, we talk UFC and stuff all the time. And he does jiu-jitsu in Houston. But now that Expo season's over and I have some more time to do it, I've been going to UFC gym in the Heights.
Right. What's that? What do they do there?
So they do. They have a kickboxing class. They have a jiu-jitsu class. They have an MMA class, but they call it like I think it was like combat conditioning or something.
Right.
It's kind of weird the politics with UFC and their gyms because they almost like don't want to put it out there that this is like a fighting gym, right? But it's an MMA class, but they can't call it that. But they have a full weight area. They have punching bags. They have a turfed area for sleds. They have an Olympic rack, stuff like that. So Logan, Joel, and I, we all go down there and work out every day.
I think you'd love it.
I think so
you'd love
too.
jiu-jitsu.
I think so too. And that and Heritage Muay Thai is like 5 minutes from my house, and they've produced a couple of UFC athletes. So definitely, now that Expo season's calmed down, I'll be getting into that soon.
See, because I'm old, I'm 36, so I like jiu-jitsu. And I mean, like, so my brother, he's gonna get his purple belt soon, which, I mean, if you look at, I saw something the other day and it was talking about the percentages of people worldwide that like, even just doing jiu-jitsu, like you're in the top 10% of people, and it might even be less than that. But like, as you progress in belts, like I think the percentage of people walking the earth that have a black belt, it's like less than 0.1%. Like it's a very, very minute
Right.
class of people. And like even when you go down to like brown belt, purple belt, it's a very, very small percentage of people that do it. And I mean, with your wrestling background, I mean, you would excel quickly.
No, I would love to try it. And I'm a student for everything, you know. So the last thing I want to do is walk in there with my background and think I can kick everybody's ass because I'll quickly get choked out.
Yeah.
But correct me if I'm wrong, but the way the belts work, so you have your coach, and I know the Gracie is big, and I forget the other family that's in it. But to be like, you start off as a white belt, and to be upgraded in belt, your coach has to believe that you can beat every other white belt in the world for you to get moved up, right?
Right. I don't know how all that works, but like, yeah, it's basically at your coach's discretion.
Right.
Whenever he thinks that you can move up. So they have stripes. You get so many stripes, and then you move up a belt class. But yeah, I mean, so basically, it kind of depends on where you go to. Some you have to compete. You have to beat a purple belt in like a competition to move up. Others just it's based off of how you do in class. But but it just depends on what school you would go to. But I mean, you've already got. Obviously, you've got the takedowns. You've got takedown defense. So, I mean, really, like, once they start teaching you submissions and, you know, you get that down, you move up quick.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I was talking with Adam von Rothfelder of a Strong Coffee Company. I was telling Jeff about it last night. It's a coffee company. They're not in the hunting space. They're more in the more, I guess, like, healthy lifestyle. They're out of Austin. It's all instant coffee, and it's basically coffee that's more than just wake up juice. Every scoop has collagen, protein, L-theanine, MCT oil. I'm going to send you guys some bags so you guys can check it out. But it's all instant.
Right.
So I mean, I've used it plenty of times hunting. I mean, you got hot or cold water, you've got a cup of coffee. In fact, they make coffee drops where you eat 2 of the drops,
really,
the gummies, and it's like drinking a cup of coffee. It's awesome. But Adam did a little MMA. And stuff like that. And so he was like, man, if you want to come to Austin and get trained a little Muay Thai, he was a Muay Thai guy.
Yeah.
But he was telling me that just with my wrestling background, I mean, I really know how to keep down pressure. And I've heard a lot of jiu-jitsu guys, that's the part of the thing that they kind of struggle with at the beginning.
Right.
Is because a lot of it's from your back in different positions. And as a wrestler, I'm not comfortable on my back. It's like as soon as your back hits the ground, you fucking move. You know, it's like you roll over, you do whatever you got to do. So definitely a learning curve there. But I'm excited to do it. But when we talk about belts and stuff like that, for instance, like Dustin Poirier out of Lafayette. So he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. And I know some of the Dagestani guys like Khabib and Islam and all those guys were like talking shit, you know, saying that he doesn't have a legit black belt and all that. And he came out and, you know, who ain't got jiu-jitsu, you know? It's funny shit.
There was, I'll see if I can find it. Khabib was wrestling. So I think Khabib does a lot of stuff with Daniel Cormier. And Daniel, he was a national champion at
Lafayette boy as well.
OS. Oh, he is. Yeah. He's from Louisiana too.
Lafayette.
I'll see if I can find it. But Khabib is, of course, it changed it to kebab. Khabib wrestles college kid. There it is, right here. But like Daniel, and maybe let me see if I can find this. But Daniel is. He comes and like helps the kid, but like it's a different. Yeah, here we go. So he's wrestling Khabib's wrestling a D1 kid, but Khabib wrestled a fucking bear when he was a kid. So I mean,
this is just a wrestling. No,
nothing else.
This kid's gonna get his ass whooped.
He's a D1 wrestler.
I don't care.
Khabib going easy.
Yeah, it's not like he's just wrestling some random guy in a bar.
Yeah, he's not ready for that shit, Chase. You gotta give him that. That's the type of stuff you gotta get him with.
Dustin talking shit in the background. That's funny.
There he goes. Hey, help me watch the space! Jamie, you scored?
Here comes Daniel to help this D1 kid.
Yeah, up with it, up with it,
nice.
Up with it,
nice.
Up with it.
Oh, you got to keep that.
Wrestle me.
Khabib doesn't even look phased though.
No.
Oh yes,
I mean, I'm telling you, those Dagestani guys. I mean, it's just their conditioning is unmatched.
Yeah, he never gets tired.
No.
Stick with your motion.
And that kid will have something to talk about the rest of his life.
That's right.
I got to
dude,
wrestle
I'd
Khabib.
love to have the chance to wrestle with him. That's right.
It's about to go terribly wrong for him right here.
Oh, dude. Yeah, it's bad. Ooh.
That's all she wrote right there.
Yeah, it's a bear hug. Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of memes going around with Khabib. Because Khabib, you know, he trains his guys, and he learned from his dad. You know, after his dad passed is when he stopped fighting.
Right. That's gotta fucking hurt.
It doesn't feel good.
I mean, he just basically head planted the kid.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Now, how could he do? Who's the best wrestler? The kid from Iowa or Penn State?
Currently, right now?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I haven't kept up with it, honestly.
Jordan Burroughs, maybe?
Who's the jackass?
He's a dog.
Who's the
He's
kid?
amazing.
Who's the jackass kid? Is he the linebacker we had on from South Lake Carroll knew this kid, and he was a wrestling kid, come from a wrestling family, and
jackass.
Yeah, the kid liked him. He knew him. He wrestled and worked out with him some. Remember the kid that's going to Ohio State from South Lake, from Lovejoy.
Yeah, Peyton Pierce.
Okay, Peyton Pierce, his friend, he worked out with this kid that's a wrestling kid. And the kid went to Iowa somewhere, and he flipped off the crowd and shit. They just, how disrespectful he was.
That is disrespectful.
And you can look it up. It's but it's that kid that he was talking about. His whole family is fighters and wrestlers.
No, I think are you talking about there was a kid that his dad was an arm wrestling champion, but I don't know if he was a wrestler.
No, this kid here. No, I know that kid. No, that's not that kid.
He's a football player, right?
The kid,
He started a football game.
the wrestling, the kid that did the arm
I'm thinking
wrestling.
of the arm wrestling dad.
Yeah, no, his
son plays quarterback somewhere, right?
Yeah, he does play quarterback. I can't remember where it's at though.
He started a game this year, I
A
thought.
big time game. It wasn't the kid at Notre Dame, but anyways, that had nothing to do with
That
it.
wasn't him though.
No, this kid's a wrestler, like a wrestler, Division I wrestler, and he's got a bunch of NIL deals, and they work out and do all these workout videos and shit on YouTube, and he's famous, like DeFerranza or some shit. He's got some Fonzie or some crap. Anyways, he went to
Not AJ Ferrari, is it?
that might be who it is.
He went to Oklahoma State, and then he had some some allegations, and then he moved schools.
Yes. Anyways, he's a real jackass. It looks like.
Yeah,
And I wouldn't
no,
say it to his face because he'd probably show me the bottom of my
Heard
feet.
you.
Well, he wrestles the same weight class I wrestled in high school. He's a 195.
But he is a real piece of work. It says like his dad's disrespectful and he's disrespectful, and he's at Penn State or Iowa now or somewhere. And they said that the coach needed to get on. I mean,
Yeah, wrestling. From day one, you're taught discipline, you're taught sportsmanship.
yeah, he don't have any of that.
Then yeah, that's upsetting to hear. But no, Khabib with the Dagestani guys. A big thing about Khabib, especially in training, is they don't really stop.
Yeah.
Like they don't like I said, there's a bunch of memes going around. But Khabib like, why you tap? Like, you go to sleep, And that's just those guys are they're just insane.
How would he do just in a wrestling match with the what's Khabib weigh? 190 pounds?
He wrestled he fought
he was,
Connor at 170.
Yeah, he was a welterweight, I believe.
Yeah.
How would he do in the NCAA championships at his weight class? Would he roll through
man.
him pretty fast?
I don't know. I think he would whip everybody's ass, to be honest. Just because his main thing was wrestling. He wasn't. Look, he was great all around, but his wrestling was almost unmatched.
Could Conor McGregor win the NCAA championship at his weight?
I don't think wrestling. No.
No, Connor's a striker.
Connor's a striker. Yeah.
That's what.
Well,
but
Conor got beat
Khabib is
by
an actual wrestler.
yes.
Then.
Yes.
Connor got beat by Khabib.
Yeah.
Well, I was glad because I'm a big Conor fan.
Yeah.
The guy-
Khabib tied up his legs, and you can't do shit from the ground when striking.
and that guy's a Pakistani Muslim, right? The Khabib guy.
Is he Pakistani or is he Dagestani?
Dagestan. He's Russian.
One of the stands. I don't know. Yeah,
He's Russian.
he is Russian.
They're a different breed of people. They got different blood runs through their veins.
When you
Yeah.
grow up wrestling bears as a kid,
I grew up.
It is
beating
AJ.
Tony's ass.
It is AJ Ferrari.
Yeah.
Did you see the stuff on him? He flipped a kid off. It was just disrespectful.
Yeah. So he was at Oklahoma State, and
Yeah.
one of our guys, Jokubaitis, he wrestled with us. He won state, I believe, all 4 years at 106, and then he went up to 112. He was almost like my little brother on the team, and he went to Oklahoma
Weighs
State.
106 pounds. Is he fucking malnourished? How can you be a man? How can you be a man and weigh 100? That's you got to be a jockey.
Yeah, pretty much. He was adopted from Guatemala.
How tall is he? 5'1", 5'2"?
Oh man, something like that. 5. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Skinny kid.
I see a 106-pound kid start talking shit and something, I'm gonna laugh.
You're
He's
gonna
got
go.
one-
But then that
hand is
motherfucker's
all it
gonna hurt
takes.
me. That's what I mean. but you know what I'm saying?
Right,
you
right,
just
right.
don't. Okay, how would you wrestle at? What weight?
195.
So did you ever wrestle with this 106
Oh,
pound
yeah.
kid?
Oh, yeah.
Did you toss him around everywhere?
Yeah, but I wrestled him
Quick.
because he was quick. Yeah, so like me at 195, I would wrestle our 106, 112 because he was one of the best on the team. He was winning state and left and right. And I'd also wrestle our 145 and our 152 just because they were quicker. And also I'd wrestle our heavyweight.
Yeah.
285. So I get a lot of speed in weight training, just from those different weight classes. And one of my best friends growing up, Joe, he wrestled at 182. So him and I were partners. So we'd go back and forth, practice, and then we'd switch off to the smaller guys and do some kind of quicker training and stuff like that. Because at my weight was very versatile. So we had a lot of like throws, but you also had guys that would shoot and do other stuff that the lower weights would usually do. So I tried to be like as much of a virtuoso as I could be, and just kind of learn anything to adapt.
What's a 106 guy getting out of wrestling somebody weighing 190? Other than getting
Just
his
learning
ass
how to
whooped?
take weight, basically.
Yeah. More body weight.
I'm
different pressure.
sorry. A 106-pound guy though does not.
Well, you got to think too. Like, like he said, he's going to kind of toss him around and kind of do what he wants. So this 106-pound kid is going to be able to work on escapes and defense.
Or if he hits like a quick outside single and grabs my ankle from the outside, I mean, I'm going to get out of it, but at least he's going to practice on getting there.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, it's just a quick thing. And
one of my really good friends growing up probably weighed 135 pounds. His brother was a Division I track player. He was a good athlete, but his problem was he had a heart disease or a heart problem when he was little. And he had to have open heart surgery when he was a baby, and so he never grew really tall and stuff.
Right.
And he was 135 pounds probably. And we was at a party one night, and guys would always guys that didn't know he was really a cool guy would want to start shit with him. Would piss me off.
Oh yeah.
And so if you're fucking with my friend, you're fucking with me. And so
same.
And so one night we was at a party and this guy was trying to talk shit and fucking with him. And he was a cowboy, a real cowboy. Cowboy hat, worked on a ranch and other shit. And this guy flipped his fucking cowboy hat on. I went fucking berserk. I thought, I'm fixing to beat the shit out of this son of a bitch. My buddy Randy was a Golden Gloves fighter.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And so he hit this motherfucker 15 times before I could move 2 steps, just right across that dude's nose.
Yeah,
I mean, just I didn't have to fucking ever take up for him. But in my heart, I always did because it would make me fucking mad because we'd be standing together and I'm the loudmouth asshole and then they'd want to start shit with him. Well, fucking, don't start something with me. I mean, I wasn't a huge guy, 6 foot, 220 pounds. That's an average size guy.
Yeah.
But I was bigger than 130 pounds.
Right, right.
But they'd always want to fuck with
look at him.
But they always want to fuck with him because he wasn't really big. And I mean, I'm telling you right now, it looked like a speed bag going across that guy's fucking nose. It was just a blur and then red blood coming out of that guy's nose.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, motherfucker, that's what you deserve.
Yeah, and I don't think I've ever been 106 pounds, to be honest with you.
106?
I don't think I've ever been 106
Fifth grade. Weigh in for football was 105.
AJ Ferrari, 585.
Yeah, that's him.
Deadlift 4 times. And I don't know what he wrestled at, but
195.
195.
He's got that car salesman hair, though, don't he?
Yeah, everybody's got that.
A car salesman or pastor, either one.
It's no shit.
But you were telling me about your workouts.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
you would run 3 miles before you ever even got on
That's
the wrestling
right.
mat.
So our final bell would ring at 2:40. School's over. We had such weird times. It was like school started at like 7:43, and the final bell would ring at 2:40. But at 2:45, you had your shoes on, you were running, and coach was standing outside watching. We had the way St. Louis was in Lake Charles. It was downtown Lake Charles, and we had I couldn't even tell you what the distance was around the school. But I want to say we'd run it like 5 or 6 times would be 3 miles. We're weaving in and out to pick up traffic and stuff like that. And administration didn't like us much for that, but we weren't not going to do it. You know? But yeah, we'd run 3 miles. We'd hit the weight room. We do 100 bench presses, 100 military presses, and then do like curls, box jumps, jump ropes until everybody was done, or at least, because we had. I mean, look, the reality of a heavyweight running 3 miles in time to still have practice is very low.
Right.
So coach would, all right, come on, And, before the season, we do all kinds of tire flips and stuff outside. And, man, I remember one of the most fun workouts we ever did was we had a tire in the middle of 2 cones, maybe a 20-yard stretch. And the tire was in the middle, and you were on one side, and your opponent was on the other side. And you had to do everything you had to do to get that tire back to your cone. So, I mean, it was literally grab the tire, pull on it, let go of it, ankle pick the guy.
Yeah.
I think when I went, I just ran up and just decleated the guy. Like, I just ran straight at him, ran up, grabbed the tire, hurry up and run. They grab you, it was fun. It was to build up, that physicality and that violence. And then we'd go upstairs and do technique and rope climbs and other workouts like that. And, dude, I couldn't climb a rope until I was like a junior in high school.
Really?
It was just, I'm a big guy. It takes a lot of strength to pull me all the way up there. And it's a lot of technique too, learning the foot placement and stuff like that. And we do a lot of sprints and my wrestling coach is the closest thing I have left to a grandfather. Coach Terry Gage. He's got he would actually be a great guy for the podcast. He was a government locator when President Carter was in office. And he basically, a government locator is a government employed bounty hunter.
Really?
So he would go after people that owe the government money and stuff like that. And he's got some wild stories. And in fact, one of my favorite stories from that time in my life, junior year. So Peyton, I think I might have met Peyton at Turkey. He's our VP of Sales and Business Development.
I don't know if you did or not.
I'm not sure, but you'll meet him this year. But he moved from Lake Travis, from Austin, junior year of high school. And, we were in the biggest weight group. He immediately joined our weight group. We were friends right off the bat, got him in wrestling. And in our third, I believe it was our third day. So he moved early. He lived with his aunt in Lake Charles. His family's all from, he's a Hooval. So all his family are from Cecilia, Henderson area in Louisiana. And he's got a lot of family in DeQuincy and Lake Charles. And it was like the third day of being here. I had met his dad once. My parents had never met his parents, anything like that. And on the third day, I was like, hey, man, you want to go offshore fishing? And he was like, I mean, what? Yeah, like, hell yeah, you know? And it was me, him, Coach Terry, his son, Billy. And Billy's like my dad's age. Billy could be like my dad. And their grandson, Will, was on the wrestling team with us. And Will's kind of like a little brother that I never had, too. And, man, we went out there. He had a 32-foot Hydrocat. And we had some engine trouble. We were supposed to leave at 11, ended up having to get a new battery, which was the first red flag. But long story short, we ended up getting out of there. We caught 2 red snapper. You know, it was a shitty fishing day, but it's fellowship. That's what it's about, hunting and fishing, you know. And Peyton actually lost his lucky hat on the way out and was like, oh, no. And we're like, shut up, you know. Well, sure enough, we're coming back in about 5 o'clock. And, you know, we're on the Big Joe beanbag chairs facing south into the Gulf, and everybody else is facing forward, driving the boat back in. And we have a very good rapport with Coach Terry, with Terry and Billy. We call them all by their first names, right? And we hear Billy go, you know, oh, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. And we're like, you know, we're high school. We're like, shut the fuck up. Yeah. Like, why are you fucking with us like that, you know? And he goes, sit down and shut up. This is fucking serious. And we're like, you know, like, what? And we jump up, and I'm telling you, the biggest, blackest cloud you have ever seen from horizon to horizon. We're going straight into it.
Oh, shit.
And we're like, yeah, oh, shit is right. And we're grabbing life vests, and we're putting flares in our shit. We'd never been in any of that before. And out of nowhere, just the swells were growing. I'd say it probably averaged anywhere from 12 to 15-foot swells. At one point, it was 20.
How big a boat were you on?
32 foot.
That's a pretty big boat, though.
No, yeah, it was. But, I mean, we were like... I mean, it was like up and down, up and down.
So bad.
So Coach was, and we thought he was having a damn heart attack because he was grabbing his chest, you know, and everything else. So we're communicating with Coast Guard. We ended up losing all of our lights, our GPS. We had our running light inside, and that was it. And we were going off a compass. We were just northwest heading into the waves. And man, I can remember me and Peyton. And like I said, me and Peyton we're friends for 3 days at this point. My parents are, you know, my parents, and then Billy's wife. We live in the same neighborhood, so we're pretty tight. And, you know, my mom's calling Miss Cassie, and she's like, hey, you know, like, have you heard from the boys? And they're like, no, it's okay, you know. And they're like, yeah, it's probably fine, you know. And as it got later, they're like, hey, have you heard from the boys? And they're like, no, something might be wrong. Well, a news report went out that 3 adults and it was like 4 kids. I mean, it was me, Peyton, Will, and another guy. I mean, we're all high schoolers, but it was like 2 adults, and our 3 adults and 4 kids were you know, fighting the sea, basically. And our assistant wrestling coach was a college wrestler that moved to Lake Charles for the Coast Guard. And so Coach brought him on as an assistant coach. And sure enough, my mom called Jack, and he's like, oh, shit, let me find out. And he was like, yeah, that's the boys out on that boat. Oh, shit. And, man, I can remember, you know, in those moments where it's like real stressful, high adrenaline, where time just takes forever.
Yeah,
you know, a minute takes an hour kind of thing. And, man, we were calling that Coast Guard helicopter, and they're like, all right, we'll be there in 45 minutes. And we're like, okay. And we're just, I mean, we're holding on, just getting our ass whooped. And, you know, 5 minutes later, you know, where are y'all at? Oh, we'll be there in, you know, in 45 minutes. Like, you know, like, hurry the fuck up.
Yeah.
And the first helicopter had to come, and they got, had to go back out for gas, and then Coach is grabbing his chest, and, you know, they're like, oh, shoot a flare. Well, we didn't have time to pull the poles down from the top. So Peyton had to grab a pole kind of by the console and then grab my arm like a Spartan handshake, you know? And, I'm leaning out, and I'm shooting the flares. We had 4 flares, and we ended up on the last flare. They were like, hey, like, go ahead and shoot another flare. We're coming. And dude, like I said, those moments in time where everything is just still and quiet and you know, chaos.
Yeah.
And man, I pull that flare gun up, and I'm about to shoot it, and I just hear Peyton go, hey, you know, and I'm like, what? You know, like, what could you possibly want? And he goes, you think I could shoot the last one? And I'm like, yeah, you know. And he ended up not having to shoot it, unfortunately. But that helicopter came in, and man, there's a video online somewhere. I don't know if we can find it, but There's a video online somewhere of that Coast Guard, the rope operator on the helicopter had a GoPro on his helmet. And dude, when I tell you, like, that helicopter was at the ceiling. I mean, it was like right fucking there, you know? And that rope comes down with a glow stick on the end of it. In the video, you can see me in the back of the boat and Peyton's behind me, and we're pulling the rope in, and the rescue diver comes down wearing Chuck Taylor Converses, by the way. I thought was the funniest thing. But we pull the rescue diver in, and he slips, and we pick him up, and then the basket comes down. We put Coach in the basket, and they didn't even reel him up. I mean, he slapped a couple waves on the way out. They took him straight to Corpus Christi.
Where did y'all come in at?
Lake Charles.
And they took him to Corpus Christi?
Yeah. So we had actually...
Where the fuck y'all at? Houston by then?
Well, if you look on the map, the way we were drifting, we were just heading northwest, fighting the waves. And I mean, dude, we didn't get back in the marina till like 2 in the morning. And we left at 1 in the afternoon. And I mean, we had drifted on the map. We were in line with Corpus, and we came back. I mean, it was absolutely wild. Like, it was...
It's a long fucking ride.
It was... You're telling me. It was long.
You know what's crazy? And, like, we talked about this on a recent podcast. The Vikings... They navigated that shit. No modern technology.
A moonstone.
They just fucking set off in some of the roughest seas
The
on
North
the
Sea's
planet.
worst in the world.
Oh, absolutely.
North Seas and Cape Horn are probably the 2 worst seas in that.
And I mean, obviously, I've never looked at the statistics, but it's like, how many of them died on the way? Like,
Oh my
how many
God,
of the boats capsized? But like, they
never know.
Some of them made it.
Yeah, some of them made it, right? I mean, they'd sent out 50 boats or so,
Yeah.
and 25 would make it, or whatever the statistic is on it. It's
Fucking
crazy.
tough people.
Dude, absolutely.
Even the trip from England to the United States and France and off the Normandy and stuff, where all those people, the settlers in the 1700s come across, it'd take 30 days. And you didn't know you was going to land on the United States.
Yeah,
what
no
gets
idea.
me is like the people that could get, well, like the pilgrims at Plymouth, you know? How did they not end up at Provincetown? They ended up somewhere around that Cape to get into that, to get into Boston, and then to not run aground. Fuck, there's guys today in modern boats get run aground all the damn time.
Yeah, yeah.
It is absolutely nuts.
Crazy
So
times.
did people that have never been in the ocean also don't realize how lonely that is out there.
Oh my God.
I mean,
You are
it's the darkest of the dark.
Yeah.
You're just a grain of sand.
Yeah,
That's
well,
all you are on the
I
beach,
mean,
basically.
That was kind of our thing with that fishing trip, right? It was like, at one point it was like, all right, guys, like I was never afraid of dying. Like, me and Peyton prayed together, and I mean, that trip made me and Peyton blood. I mean, we're so tight after that. And,
You just don't want to suffer.
right. And it was like, guys, like, we're not gonna die. Worst case, we float all night in the Gulf and hope we get fucking found. Because that's the thing, dude. I mean,
Ain't no guarantees.
hell no. I mean, it's huge.
There's people go out all the time.
All the time.
There was a guy this year duck hunting somewhere off the Texas coast. I don't think they haven't found him yet.
It's sad, man.
But you got to feel so helpless.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm not scared of water. I'm not scared of drowning at all. I don't give a shit at all. Water does not bother me. But when you're out on them boats and that stuff, just one little bad thing can happen to change up. I get more worried about eaten by a fucking shark than I do anything else.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. When we were filming this year with On the Road with Boss, we were off Venice and we were fishing by the gas wells, oil wells. I don't know what they were, but and we're fishing right there, and we hooked up a big shark. And we fought for one at breaking off right at the boat. But while we were fighting it, I'm thinking, there's something a whole lot bigger than that down below that.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's shit we don't even know.
No. And I'm thinking, these motherfuckers go diving. I got buddies that spearfish at them things. I'm thinking,
my
there
dad
is
used
no
to,
way in hell. Because, like I said, I like water. I want to be somewhere where it's clear, like off of Key West. Where I can see all the way down. And then last year we were snorkeling off of the trench there outside of Cozumel, and we got to where it was 100 foot of water and you could see, and 200 foot of water, and then all of a sudden it got murky and it was 2,000 feet, and I got the heebie-jeebies. I was like, fuck, there's something underneath me that's I just don't.
It's like swamp people. It's like, don't stick your hand in there.
Well, here's the issue with being an overnourished person compared to the 103-pound guy.
Right.
If you're hunting, you always kill the biggest fucking thing you can see.
Right.
So in that water,
the animals thinking the same
that
thing.
fish wants a fat guy. He don't want skinny guys. Like, that's too many bones there. I want to fucking enjoy that meal.
That's right. But yeah, we do go fishing out of Venice. One of our charters, Gulf of America, Adam Peterson down there with his captains, Captain Martha and Joe Von Tron. He just recently picked up. Who's a big YouTube guy. That's what we do all of our fishing down there. They're our top fishing charter.
Well, I love my time in Venice last year. It's an amazing place. I mean,
Unlike any place I've ever been.
Oh, I agree. It's they're in the Cypress Cove Marina. I haven't been to the Venice Marina before, but
all I know, it was fucking hot.
it is hot.
And It was neat. We slept on the water. I love the Mississippi River, fishing in the Mississippi River and catching sheep's head and trout and shark. It just is an amazing place. Everybody needs to see that estuary down there.
Yeah.
And it's unlike any place in the world.
Yeah.
Southern Louisiana is an amazing place.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, living 6 years in Baton Rouge, we never even fished off the Mississippi. The closest thing I did to the Mississippi River, so a lot of the LSU strength coaches, they're all big gun guys. And that's how we connected on stuff, talking about guns, going shooting and stuff like that. And they knew all the cops in town, so it was never really a big issue. So me and Tori and some of the other football guys, we'd go behind the levee next to the Mississippi, and we would just mag dump and just unload and target shoot. And the cops ever came out, we're like, hey, we're LSU. And they're like, okay.
Yeah, if you play football at LSU, you get a free pass.
Oh, pretty much everything, yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, when I went to Tigerland, I mean, I didn't pay for drinks except for like a couple bucks. I'd tip my bartender, and we didn't have to pay for shit. I mean, it was a good time.
Did they get rid of that? They got rid of the "suck the tiger dick" chant, didn't they?
They did, but our fans have found a way to pretty much say it to whatever the band's playing. So they got rid of the actual song "Neck" is what they
Neck,
coined
yeah.
it. The last time they played it when I was there was when Odell paid the fine. He went out there and told the band director, he's like, play the song. And he's like, no, I'll get in trouble, the fine, whatever. He goes, I'll pay the fucking fine.
What is the fine?
I don't know, it was like $25,000 or something like that. It was
Fuck it,
nothing.
that's a 10 cents per person. That's
maybe
there.
I'm missing a zero. It might be $250. I don't know. But
Wow.
it was expensive.
Why? Outside of LSU, I could understand why other people get upset. That's your home fucking deal.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's one of those things where it's exciting, it's fun, it's a good chant. But I mean, you know, when you think families and kids and stuff like that,
They're at an LSU football game.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
You
You
are
take
right.
your kid to an oil wrestling match, you expect to see a titty pop out every once in a
Well,
while.
you're right. You're right.
I mean,
You know, and they probably see worse shit tailgating, to be honest with you.
kids today hearing "suck that tiger dick."
Yeah, they got TikTok and all that. They know that.
I could see your boys chanting it. Jameson would be all about that shit.
No, because whenever they do a good job of leaving out the curse words.
Your boys do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if they were
Bleep it
part
out.
of that crowd, they would love it.
Yeah.
They would say penis,
Right. Suck that,
and that would wear us.
suck
That would
tiger
wear me.
penis.
That would wear me out.
Yeah.
I do not like the proper word. Vagina and penis does not.
Yeah, it's kind of grody.
And Jameson the other day, he hit me in my penis. I go, what? He hit your penis? That's your cock.
There it is.
Suck that tiger dick, bitch. How many do they fit in that stadium?
Oh man, 100 and something thousand now, I believe.
Really?
Something like that. When they built the upper deck. So I would film. I was in the south end zone, right under the suites. So I mean, there's a few games my parents were in the suites, and I knew some friends in the suites that would like lean over and I'd high five them or like wave. I mean, I was literally, if you look up a picture of Tiger Stadium, I can point it out where my video platform was. But I mean, you know, we were taught to not be fans. You know, I mean, we couldn't because we were next to like the CBS or the ESPN guy and the visitors.
You're supposed to be professional.
It was very professional. So I almost had to like relearn how to be an LSU Tiger fan.
Right. Yeah. Because you can't probably participate in neck.
Yeah, no. Now, I mean, look, don't get me wrong. We were going ape shit when we won the championship.
Really?
Yeah.
Just all bets are off.
Oh, yeah.
There it is.
Yep, that's
Suck
it.
that tiger dick,
There's
bitch.
a student athlete section right there, and then off to the right where they're showing now, that's the student section.
That's a big stadium. Every time we go by it, me and Michelle got invited to a game a couple years ago. One of our clients is from down there, and they invited us. And
Yeah.
we were dove season. We were busy, but
Yeah.
I think that would be a great experience to go see. And I hate the Texas Aggies. I'm a Texas guy, and I'm not an Aggie fan. But Texas A&M has got great traditions.
Oh, they do.
As good
They
as
do.
traditions. I mean, they had boy dances up until like 10 years ago, but.
Right.
They have great traditions, and it's a great school.
It is. It
a
is.
very good
Their
school.
band is incredible.
They
The
have-
marching that they do it's incredible.
And it's one of the few conservative
It is.
colleges left in our country.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Well, I mean, hey, let me know what LSU game you guys want to go to. I'll give you all a full tour. So if you look,
I want to go watch when the Horns come to LSU and win next year.
let's get tickets. I can get y'all. So where the purple end zone is right there, if you go up a little bit before the upper deck, like if you go straight back right there, that's where I was. It was a little concrete platform. Those are the suites inside of there. And then our other guys on the north end zone would film where it says LSU down at the bottom. You can actually up above.
right here?
Yeah. So you could actually get in that.
Really?
Yeah, it's open. And so our guys would film in there and underneath it.
You cannot we have a good friend of ours, Ryan Fox, very good friend. He's like family. He's like another one of our kids and been around forever. Was in Andy's wedding. I mean, great friend of ours. He graduated from Tennessee.
Okay.
And so all he does is SEC. That's all I ever heard. And what kills me about the SEC is that if your fans don't win, if your team don't win, then it's the other SEC school.
That's right.
You know,
got the whole
it's the
conference.
SEC.
That's
They
right.
take the whole conference. So, but it is the best football conference in the United States. Now, my team is now playing a part of that, and I'm not excited about that because I think it's going to cost us a national championship down the road somewhere. I really do. But and I think all the new teams, as big as the SEC and the Big Ten are going, I think they're going to hurt their chances. Now, if you can come number one out of that conference, you're way off. And I think the SEC is so much more powerful than the Big Ten is.
I think so too. Every year it's like they just keep throwing Michigan and Ohio State and USC and all these guys high up on the rankings. It's like, why? You know?
Right.
And I mean, look, get it this year. Yeah, they won, right? But usually it's not like that.
If Auburn would not have given up the end of the game, they fucking got out coached in the game, and Saban won the game. But if Alabama loses that game, then the whole playoff deal's completely different. I mean, it just some little things that happened, but I think if Alabama and Michigan played 5 times, I think Alabama would have won 3 of them.
Yeah.
I really do. They should have won that game anyways.
Yeah, they should have.
Washington just wally-lopped Texas, and then Texas come back and had a chance to win, and I was really surprised by that.
Yeah.
I think Alabama's done for a while. I don't think this new coach is going to be what's. I think Alabama's going to go through the same thing that all these other schools are going to. USC. You can buy players all you want, but you've lost the leverage that Saban had because he was such a disciplinarian, and those kids wanted to play for Nick Saban.
Yep.
I don't think the new guy's going to have that.
I don't think so either. To be honest, I don't think any coach will ever have that again.
No, look at Clemson.
Yeah.
The NIL's killed Clemson.
That's what I'm saying, man. The NIL, and I mean, he can't take away their Charger keys anymore. Their Hellcat keys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's Georgia's been kind of holding on still. Ohio State, I hate Ohio State.
I do too.
And I've got tons of Ohio. We have tons of Ohio people that listen to this, and I talk about this all the time. There's not an easier fan to hate than Ohio State. I mean, they just make it so easy to hate them. But God almighty, outside of Alabama, they're the most consistent school when it comes to getting good athletes year in and year out.
Yeah, they are good. And Ohio just has that kind of stigma about them. In fact, I was in Hawaii. So when Mallard Bay first started, the year we launched, I went to Hawaii that summer. And I was calling outfitters. I was waking up at 5 a.m. every morning because it was a 5-hour difference. And I was calling outfitters over here just trying to sell the idea, basically, of what we were going to be and what we had so far. And we met a guy that actually was on the team that built the Pfizer vaccine. Yeah, we were sitting at the bar. It was during COVID, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we launched in 2021. And so vacation had just started to be a thing anymore. You still had to wear a mask and get tested and all that shit. But we're sitting at the bar, and I'm just kind of shooting the shit with the guy. One, I've never met a stranger. And 2, everybody always says if I can talk to a brick wall and it's going to fall before I stop. I mean, that's how I was born, man. And I'm just outgoing and extroverted. And we always say, look, you're my friend until you're not. If you give me a reason not to be, then it's fine. But until then, we're friends, right?
Right.
And just shooting the shit with this guy and his family, and he had a drawstring bag that said Pfizer on it. And when I asked him what he did, because he asked me what I did, and I told him all about Mallard Bay and everything else, I said, well, what do you do? And he goes, oh, well, I have a PhD in organic chemistry. And I was like, oh, wow, but what do you do?
Right,
This is what you have, right?
I don't know.
Yeah. And,
Where do I go from here?
Yeah, and he points to the bag. It says Pfizer. And I'm like, no shit. And I'm like, do you know the guys that made the vaccine? He goes, I was one of them.
Oh, shit.
I'm like, no shit.
You dumb fucker.
And yeah, after that it got a little sour, right? But it was funny. He was like, and it was a small bar, it was on one of the resorts.
I bet he ain't going around bragging about that shit anymore.
Hell no.
He gets his ass
Hell
whooped.
no. But he said, yeah, I'm from Ohio, and the entire bar goes, yeah, like everybody was. But yeah, the vaccine is something interesting to talk about, especially being at LSU football during the COVID years, because it started off where it was very uncertain. No one knew what was going to happen, especially with the season.
Anybody that took the first shot, I don't hold that down against you at all. We were scared to death. I almost took the first shot.
I agree.
But when you take your 8th booster, you're a dumb fuck.
Yeah, man, it's kind of like a flu shot in a way,
Right.
Yeah. And look, I don't judge anybody from doing it or not doing it. I just have my personal beliefs and what I feel like what I thought was right. And I mean, I didn't get it. But that year it was like, hey, we all get tested like 3 times a week and everything else. And then they were like, you're never going to have to take the vaccine. We're just going to have to get you tested. Cool. And then it was like, hey, we can't do tests anymore. So if you're not going to get vaxxed, you have to pay for it. Fine. No problem at all. You know, did that for a little while. And then they were like, hey, so you have to get the vax to work. And I said, well, I'm not going to get it. And they're like, well, like, what are you going to do? And I was like, well, can I work? And they said, no. And I said, you going to take away my scholarship? And he said, no. I said, well, then call me when I can work. I'm not getting it.
Right.
And I was like one of, I think, like 3 people in the entire athletic organization that didn't get it. And I mean, I was like, dude, look, I will do every test possible. I'll wear a mask. I'll work. You know, we had big like 50-foot towers that we'd film from, and I was always away from everybody. So I was like, I'll go through a side gate, get up there and leave after, and Clorox my camera. I don't give a shit. I want to work. And it just didn't happen.
Well, we're looking back now, it was just a terrible hoax played on this, the people in the world, the whole thing. And it's all about money, and we know that, in an election and whatever it went. But I am really, really, really surprised that we haven't had some repercussions done to the people that come up with this shit. And I'm not talking about taking some money away from them. I'm surprised some mom and dad that didn't lose a 13-year-old boy fucking swimming and just drops dead, or a soccer player somewhere, a football player, that someone ain't went and fucking put somebody's foot in somebody's ass.
Everybody seems to just sweep it under the rug when it happens,
it just
right?
blows my, I mean, but everybody knows.
Athletes, you know?
If in tonight's NBA game, if a guy drops dead, everybody behind the scenes is saying, well, I wonder if he got vaxxed. How many times have you seen someone die and you say, I'll bet he got vaxxed?
Just died suddenly?
Yep.
Yeah.
Somebody just the other day died.
It's always your first question.
Yep.
Right.
I'll give you an example. There was a kid that just like last week, they had a young high school kid in Texas died in a fishing tournament. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to his family at all, and that's why I'm trying to kind of care what I say.
Yeah.
But it was on a page, and some friends of mine knew the kid, and they prayed for him, and he died. CPR died from him. 17-year-old kid at a fishing dock just fall over, dead. And they said, well, he had a blood clot.
Well, that's what it's been happening. It's always been a blood clot.
But when I tell you it's a blood clot, what do you think it is?
Vaccine.
Bingo.
That's
Same
immediately
as me.
think vaccine.
And everybody behind the scenes says that, but you don't want to say that on a page because you look like an insensitive asshole. Yeah. But that's what everybody's thinking. Everybody's thinking that kid got that vax and he died of a blood clot. And then I had to bring that up with my brother, and my brother's a tinfoil hat wearer. But some of the things Tony's really on turning out is Tony looks smarter and smarter as the years go by sometimes. And he made me listen to Alex Jones the other day. And Alex Jones is one of those guys. If he tells you something's going to happen now, 5 years from now, he's right. Yeah. They can sue him for all the money in the world. The typical bullshit. And it's the stupidest shit ever because he wasn't no part of any of that. No. It's a dumbass deal, just no different than Trump and this real estate shit. But he said, and he had a doctor on from England, and then he had a guy that owns a funeral home. And they are pulling out these big plastic-looking things out of your blood veins.
Freaky as shit.
That's right. But nobody talks about it. That should be the #1 story in the news right now.
Yeah.
And Alex Jones is talking about it. So that means about 2030, we're going to be like, so another sumbitch died from the damn, it's got these big long blood clots in them. Well, where'd those long blood clots come from? It had to be coming from the vaccine. In the history of the world, it's never.
No.
And they say they're almost alive, and they had video of it and stuff. Yeah. And this guy said, people need to talk about this. He goes, this is what we're seeing in these big funeral homes now. Yeah. We're seeing young people, and he said they started, they call it bloodletting when they bleed them out to bury them, to put them out, and it would keep getting clogged up, and they couldn't figure it out. What's these big old blood clots and just big old chunks of plasticky looking shit.
Well, you feel so bad for the people that did it out of fear.
They had to.
And they had to in
most people that did.
Yeah, or in any kind of medical profession or schools or anything like that. It was almost forced, which is against HIPAA, right? You know?
Yeah. Should have been.
It's rules for me and not for thee. Yeah. They're so all about that shit anyways. Liberals are just dumb. We've got one that lives in Knox City, and he's always got fucking signs. He lives by Andy, and he's got signs in his yard, democracy, and it's at least spelt right. I'll give him that. But it's always Joe Biden this, a Democrat this. He's got a sign now for Nikki Haley in his yard. Are you a fucking liberal or are you a Republican?
We passed by his house, I believe. Yeah.
What the fuck is Nikki Haley sign up? He's hand-pins. They don't even call their damn office to get ones in. But so are you a Democrat or are you for Nikki Haley? I mean, what's going on here?
And I think he's just confused. I don't know.
He's big time If you vote Democrat, you're fucking confused. Yeah. If you have a job, and you're an American citizen and you vote for a Democrat, you're a dumbass.
Yeah.
I hate to tell you this. If you listen to this, it pisses you off. Don't listen to us again. I don't give a shit. You're that stupid. If you vote for a Democrat right now, you're dumb as hell. The bottom line to that deal.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I've got some Democrats in my family, and it's just when you talk to them and you really talk out the facts and everything else, they start to kind of wonder, like, because it was a big thing, especially in the poorer community like my dad grew up in. My dad grew up a registered Democrat, grew up on a dirt road in South Lake Charles. So it was kind of just what you were at the time.
It's different Democrats than they are today.
But it is different Democrats. That's right. Hell, in fact, if you think about political parties wise, the first Republicans were freed slaves and the Union.
Yes.
It was, which they don't teach you in school.
Right.
If you look at the Democrats, have a long line of being on the wrong side of a long history of being on the wrong side of what's right.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah. I almost wish there wasn't even a two-party system.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Just,
I'm telling you right now, I am still on the fence about who I'm going to vote for this year.
Huh?
I really, really, really like Kennedy.
He's anti-gun.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
Yeah,
He never said that.
Okay. Well,
Never
I'm going to
said
tell you
that.
right now, I'm voting for Donald J. Trump. I'm telling you right now, if Donald J. Trump was not in this election, and I had to vote and I had to choose between Kennedy and dumbass, I would vote for Kennedy. But I'm telling you right now that I probably wouldn't even vote. I'm not going and carrying no water for no fucking Republican. I don't have no use for them. Like Mitch McConnell now is going to come out and endorse Donald Trump. Donald Trump don't need his fucking endorsement. There is nothing Mitch McConnell's going to say. Nobody likes Mitch McConnell.
Yeah.
But they keep getting elected because the party's set up to keep those guys in power forever.
I am for anybody that the media says I should be against.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
Well,
Like
then that's pretty much Donald Trump.
2016, they were, but they're that way for Kennedy too. Like anytime Kennedy opens his mouth, they spend hours and tons of money trying to discredit everything that he said. So to me, that's kind of like, oh, well, he's obviously speaking the truth. If the media is like, oh no, we can't listen to anything this guy says.
Why don't they let him make it? Why don't they let the Democratic Party is as crooked as ever? They were when fucking Hillary ran and she got all the questions given to her before, and they just swept it up. And Bernie Sanders hasn't got no fucking nuts.
Oh my God,
that's the first transgender in this America, because that son of a bitch ain't got a dick. There's no way that he's a man, because he just falls over every time. And then Joe Biden's ninth last time we had election in the primaries, then all these people fold and quit so he can have it. They're all fucking pussies.
Yeah.
But
he's a puppet, right? He's not run this country. There's no doubt about it.
And every one of them. But why would you not, if you're all for these fair elections and stuff, why would you not have Kennedy up there running the primary against Joe Biden?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's an independent now.
But he wouldn't have been if they'd let him on the Democratic ticket.
Well,
but why wouldn't they?
But I don't know that. I don't think that anytime there's an incumbent president that they have. I think that's just standard.
No, it's not.
I think it is.
No, it's not. They just don't. They usually
nobody ran against Trump when he was running in 2020.
Like now, they can't either because he's too popular.
Nikki Haley's still running. We're still having a primary. But I think any time that there's an incumbent president, the RNC or the DNC says we're not having a primary. This is our guy.
They still would allow someone to run. They just couldn't. So. They couldn't win. If you look in 2020, someone else was on the ticket in those states as a primary against Donald Trump. It might have been some wacko pastor in some small town, but there was somebody there to vote for. They're keeping Kennedy off that deal because they're afraid.
I think
he
it
would
helps
win.
Kennedy, because I think so many people. I would not have voted for Kennedy if he had a D attached to his name, but now that he's got an I, I'm all for Kennedy.
We might see one of the biggest independent votes of all time.
Well, 100%.
The only reason we got Bill Clinton was because H. Ross Perot ran against George Bush.
But
that caused George Bush.
There's going to be a huge turnout for Clinton because he's growing, and he's
Kennedy,
growing at Kennedy. He's growing at an exponential rate right now.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that, but the Democrats don't want a fair deal because they don't want to put him on the deal because he would end up winning. And if you and some other people out here, pundits, think that Joe Biden is going to get booted off and they're going to add someone else, they don't want Kennedy to be that guy because Kennedy is not a yes man for the Democratic Party.
Right.
I don't mind Joe Kennedy. It's Joe Kennedy, right?
Robert
Kennedy. I keep calling it. Joe Kennedy's the senator from Louisiana that I like so much.
Yeah.
Robert Kennedy is it's like Mark Cuban. I can't stand Mark Cuban, but if he was the president on the Democratic side, I'd feel good because he's a businessman. And Biden is just an empty suit. It's been a train wreck for America. There's nothing in our country that's good right now. Nothing. That border and all the crap. It's very sad. And people up north, when we travel a lot, and anybody up north goes, is the border as bad as the media says? I said, no, it's 1,000 times worse.
It's 1,000 times worse.
But they don't want to show you how bad it is because they want to pull on your heartstrings about these poor families that just want to get an opportunity to come to America and live the American dream. What's the fucking American dream? To be overtaxed? All your fucking money can go to Ukraine?
That's so ridiculous. Ukraine's another big topic we can talk about, man. In fact, I was talking to Dirk on the way up here with Boss, and talking about the gunpowder shortage and everything that's going on right now. And I didn't realize that Ukraine is sending off 10,000 howitzer rounds a day.
At 17 pounds of powder per howitzer.
That's crazy.
We were talking like how many shotgun shells would 17 pounds of powder make?
One day would probably be about 10 or 20 years worth of shotgun shell.
So it says right here, several states in 2020 decided to cancel their primary and caucuses. They cited the fact that Republicans canceled several state primaries when George H.W. Bush and George W. Bush sought a second term in 92 and 2004. Respectively, the Democrats scrapped some of their primaries when Bill Clinton and Barack Obama were seeking election in 96 and 2012.
Hold on, let me finish.
The primaries.
Michelle, let me finish.
Okay.
During the election cycle, the first couple of ones they still had primaries for. They're fixing to cancel the Republican ones because Nikki, fucking I'm spending your money, Haley, is going to drop because she ain't got a chance in hell. So when she drops out, they'll cancel the rest of them primaries. But they had them at first. Someone wanted to run against them, but they couldn't win, so they dropped out. That happens.
I think this is a totally different thing than what you're saying right here.
No, it's not.
It's happened since 92.
Yes, because it's been cut and dried who's running, and there's nobody to beat them. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying.
But who says that there's nobody that can beat them other than the DNC and the RNC?
When you get right now, we've had 5 primaries.
Yes.
Nikki Haley is done. She should have been done
totally
2 guns ago. So they're going to cancel them. As soon as she says, I'm done, they're going to cancel them. They run out of money fast. That's what's happened. Before 92, you had actually people stayed in the race longer because it was competitive.
The Republicans and the Democrats canceled them. The DNC and the RNC scrapped the primaries because...
Several. Not every fucking one. You can't read. They cited the fact... God damn,
they were running.
Yes, but there was nobody to run against them, so they canceled them. They did them at first. There was people that ran against them.
I disagree.
It says it right fucking there. It says they cited the fact that Republicans canceled several state primaries. They didn't cancel every fucking one of them. They probably didn't even
We're still having primaries.
We've only ran 5 out of 50 states.
But they're not going to cancel the primaries.
They're fixing to cancel them when Nikki Haley drops out.
They're going to go through Super Tuesday and everything else. They have to.
When Super Tuesday ends on Tuesday, Nikki Haley's going to get out.
I disagree. She's going to be in for the bitter end because she thinks that Trump is going to get indicted and not be able to run, and then she's going to be the person.
She still won't be the fucking president. She won't even be the candidate.
I'm just telling you why she's going to stay.
Okay. But that's what that same thing happened when the Bush guys ran, and when Clinton and Barack Obama did. By the time they got done with Super Tuesday, there was nobody that was going to run against them, so they just dropped them. That's what they're saying. They didn't cancel them all the way. That we've never had a year where they would not let someone else be on the Democratic ticket other than Joe Biden. You can't tell me a Democrat out there right now is not thinking, this is what the fuck we got to choose from? That's it. That's the best we got.
I do think a lot of people woke up. They're seeing a lot of this shit.
You're seeing all these black celebrities come out. We're going to call it. We're going to call it what it is. The Democrats have been using the black people for their vote since Lyndon B. Johnson got in office. That's what they've done forever and ever. We didn't, and me and Tony got in this argument the other day about stolen election. Well, they stole an election. It's not the first fucking election was stolen. A lot of people think that Al Gore won and George Bush, the deep state cheated for George Bush. I used to hate that because I like George W. Bush. Mm-hmm. I have no use for him. I think he's a no good, sorry liberal now. You go to the other side, I think that John F. Kennedy was put in office because they cheated in Texas to win that and in Illinois.
Well, JFK was all tied up with CIA and all that shit.
Of course, all that shit. And they didn't like him because he was against the war machine. He did not want us to go to Vietnam.
Yeah.
That's what that was all about. And all the Cuban shit.
Yeah.
And that's what that's all this has happened. Joe Biden is a puppet. They control his ass. They can't control Kennedy. They can't control Donald Trump. That's why the deep state would love for Donald Trump to be on their side. They would support him 100% because everybody in America would.
Absolutely.
If the deep state supported Donald Trump would win 90% of the vote because he's good for all of America.
Yeah.
But he's not for the war machine.
Yeah. Yeah. And talking about the vaccine earlier, especially like Kennedy's got a lot to say on that. I mean, look what happened to his voice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, that's crazy. Mm-hmm. He's the only one I've ever heard that happen to. But that's
his
voice
was from the vax.
That's what he said.
So he wasn't that way 10 years ago.
I haven't looked up an old video of him. But
Andy,
that's,
you're a
that's what
Kennedy
I heard.
guy.
Am I wrong?
He started losing his voice. He was still practicing law. I can't remember what they call it, but basically his vocal cords are paralyzed.
Yeah.
He is a true libertarian candidate, though, in a lot of ways.
That's what I want.
I mean, he is.
I want somebody that can see both sides of an argument, because I am not. I have my beliefs, but that doesn't mean that I can't see where somebody else is coming from.
But you can't read. We obviously figured that out a minute ago.
But that doesn't mean that I can't see your ignorance.
See, here we go.
I mean, I see where you're so boxed into one corner. I see your ignorance, and that's fine. But I'm not so far off to one side that it's like, well, I can't see the reasoning behind some. Now, if you have a hard time articulating it, that might be one thing. But I can always kind of see the flip side to every argument.
Yeah, I'm all about fairness. I'm all about hearing somebody out.
Yeah.
And talking about it. But I'll just leave it at that.
I am very opinionated. Everybody knows that. But my time spent as a judge, I also see things for what's fair and what's right or wrong.
True.
No matter what I thought about it, I never, ever did anything on my beliefs.
Absolutely.
It was over what the law says. This is the rules. This is what we got to go by. I think me and Tony had a big argument the other day. We argued pretty good for about 30 minutes. We were stuck in a truck together over guns. Mm-hmm. And his deal is, well, they're going to take our guns away. They're going to steal the election. They're going to bring these illegals in here. They're going to vote. And then he goes, what's going to happen when they bring all these Chinese guys and they put them in our army because they're going to give them citizenship? And I told him, I said, Tony, if you serve our country for 6 years, you deserve to be a citizen of this country. I said, they've done that for years for people. Yeah, but when they take our guns away, these guys are going to come. I go, what makes you think they're going to take our guns away? Well, they're going to. It's going to happen. I said, that's what the far right does. The far left, they push abortions and gay marriages. That's their big thing to get people going on. You won't have women's rights to do this shit. Yeah, you can drive to fucking New York State where you can have an abortion. Yeah. Or you can move to California and have an abortion. You can have abortion still. You got to go. Well, I said, so that's how they do fire up their base. I said, the right does the same thing with guns. They're going to take your guns away. What gun rights have we lost in the last 250 years?
Except for a bump stock, I don't think anything really, and that's legal now again, I think.
What have we lost?
Nothing.
Nothing.
You're going to piss off a bunch of far right people.
I don't give a shit. It's the truth, though.
Maybe I can try to find something.
Maybe. I don't know.
Well, that's how significant it is. You're going to try to find something.
Well, but
they took away your right to go buy shotgun shells when you're 12 years old at Walmart. They took away your right to buy a gun without some time delay to make sure you're not deal. I don't have a problem with that.
I don't either.
Now, I've got some friends of mine that are going to get really mad at me, and a couple of them come to my mind in my head. I don't want to say their names, but they're going to be pissed, and they're going to send me a message about why it's their personal freedoms, blah, blah. I don't have a problem on 5 days to go buy an AR-10 or AR-15. I really don't. Or a 22 Marlin 20, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Just because the simple fact there's some guy that's going to get mad at his old lady or his guys at work and go buy a gun, go back and shoot somebody up maybe. So if you have a 5-day cooling period or 48 hours, I don't have a problem with that. I really don't.
Yeah, and in talking about ARs and actually, funny enough, we'll get into this in a little bit, but we just got on 2 Norwegian interns from Rice Business School to help with Mallard Bay, do some stuff and learn business so they can apply it to businesses back in Norway. And Norway, they don't have any semi-automatic rifles. Everything's bolt or pump, and I believe it's a legacy thing, kind of like Sweden. Maybe not. I don't know. But it's harder to get a gun in Norway than it is in America.
They have no defense budget either, hardly.
They don't.
Because the United States keeps them pussies from having to fight their own fights.
Absolutely. And when it comes to like ARs and stuff like that, I am not worried about any kind of testing or waiting period or anything like that because I know I'm not a bad person.
Right.
So it's the people that are good people. I mean, I've got no problem with it. And I'm an AR owner.
I lost mine in a boating accident. I used to have a couple of them.
Right. Yeah.
But
forgot about that.
But
all that damn water out here.
If I want to buy a gun, I don't have it to have it right now. There is no reason for me to say I've got to have a shotgun right now today.
Right.
Or whatever it is that they make me fill out of paperwork. I think last time I filled out paperwork, I had to wait a big whopping 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I was walking around Academy with Michelle, bought a shotgun or something. It took me 15 minutes to get it. But if they just said, you got to come back the next day or the next day, Mr. Stanfield, I wouldn't cared.
Yeah.
Because I've never had to have a gun I've got to have right there.
Yeah.
And most people I know have never had that situation. Mm-hmm. I got guys come up here and hunt all the time that have lost a gun or something broke or blah, blah. Guess what? I got a gun you can borrow.
Oh, absolutely.
So I've never been anywhere where you had to have a gun right now. The people that have to have a gun right now usually are in the bad.
They're trying to do something
that they shouldn't be doing. Yeah, so I don't have a problem with that. But these people talk like we're losing our freedoms and freedoms. Well, we maybe we did on that deal a little bit, but to me, it's just not that big a deal.
Yeah.
I don't I don't really care one way or the other, but I think that the far right uses guns as a scare tactic like the left does abortion and gay marriage.
100%.
And so Tony did not like me telling him that.
Why?
Because he didn't like to hear that shit. And then he told me, I said, and I'm not a liberal. God damn, it sounds like you're turning that way on me. I also told you in 2006 or whatever it was that I was done with George W. Bush. I thought he was a warmonger. And him and my dad used to get so fucking mad at me over that shit. Oh, they'd get madder than hell. I said, I'm just telling you right now. I said, I don't understand why we've got our kids in Afghanistan and Iran and Iraq. Bring them home. We don't need them there no more. I didn't have a kid in the military or nothing then, but just my friends that had been there we're not doing nothing.
Yeah.
Leave them fuckers alone. I don't give a shit. I say send Israel about 500 nuclear weapons and let them fucking bomb the shit out of that place. I think what we ought to do is every one of those little Kurdish tribes and all them people, I don't know if the Kurds are bad or good. Don't have a fucking clue, and I really don't care. I say we give them all a nuclear weapon that shoots 3 miles. Let them just shoot each other all up. Oh, fuck, they'll be done. It'll be a big glass factory by next year. But because I don't care.
Yeah.
That place is a shithole. It's been a shithole from when Jesus was here, and it's going to be a shithole when I'm long, long, long gone from here. But the problem is those people want to take their shithole ideas and come here and turn our areas to shithole.
Yeah,
and Dearborn, Michigan is a perfect example.
Yeah, that's the scary thing about the border and everything going on is you notice they're all military fighting age males.
Yes.
And that's what is terrifying
Or
about
fat people that are down that they ain't skipped no fucking meals. And they got an iTunes.
They don't have to move much. Yeah. They have an iPhone,
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, even like the guy, I mean, you could pull up the clip even. The guy that says, like, you will know my name soon.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
what
that guy.
the shit is that?
Yeah.
You know, like, why was he not grabbed right there? You know?
You look at a picture of Ellis Island in 1926, just pick a deal, and them motherfuckers coming over here look like refugees.
Yeah.
They are skinny. And my kinfolks came from here. That's where we came from, Ellis Island. You can go to the wall and you can find my family's name
That's
on there.
cool. Yeah.
They came over because I've seen the wall. Those people come over here for a better life. They were starving in Italy, and they came over here and they were starving in America till it took them a long time to get their shit.
Yeah.
They ain't coming over here fat with an iPhone and shit.
No, they're not.
You know, and
They're
they're
not.
paying I read a deal today. The drug cartels are charging $5,000 per person to bring them over here. Shut the fucking drug cartels down. You can't tell me if our Navy SEALs can find some fucking fat ass Muslim terror guide in a tunnel in Afghanistan and blow him up. We can't blow up them fucking cartel houses.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, dude, there just might be too much money tied in, up in it with
It's
American
all about
government.
money.
Yeah. Yeah.
CIA's all involved in that shit.
Oh, of course. Of course.
What did Putin say about the CIA? They're the ones that blew up the Nordstrom.
That's what he said. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, fuck, he ain't got no reason to lie about that shit.
I mean, yeah, you know, I'm all about people wanting a better life and coming over here the right way. And to be honest, I mean, the way our citizenship system is, it's a little messed up. You know, I mean, like I was talking with one of our South African outfitters, and I mean, dude, he spent like something about 40 grand. He's married to an American woman. He's spent over 40 grand to get his citizenship. I think he finally got it. But it's just like, why do I have to jump through all these hoops and do all these things when we've got people coming over the border and handed an iPhone, you know, welfare and a house, and it's just not fair.
You want a free vacation? Let me tell you how to get a free vacation for everybody. You go to Mexico. You go stay at a fancy resort, wherever at Mexico, Cabo, Cancun, Isla Mujeres. I don't care where you go to. Some place I can't even pronounce it, where all the really rich people go.
Right.
And you go do that. Have them drop your ass off in Monterrey, Mexico, or Matamoros, and then walk across the fucking border, and they're going to give you a gift card for $10,000. Fucking free vacation right
Isn't that
there.
crazy?
We're going to go to Mexico tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to have to show a fucking passport to get back in,
Customs and all
to
that
get back
shit.
into
Yeah.
my country.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to explain to them what I did in Mexico.
Yep.
But if you're Chinese or Guatemalan or Mexican or Salvadorian or whatever you are, they don't ask you shit.
No.
And they give you money. And
Well,
it's a fucked up system.
And you've got that one case in Georgia where
Yes.
the guy, illegal guy, bashed the girl's head in,
Third time he'd been arrested already.
and like nobody's even talking about it in the mainstream
Because they don't
media.
want to, because it doesn't fit their narrative. Same as the Kansas City Chief shooting deal.
Yeah.
If that would have been a white guy that did that shit, fucking it'd be
everywhere.
all over fucking news. But it was two black kids, two thugs shooting some other thugs. And when I say thugs, I don't mean that racist. You're a thug if you're a piece of shit. And they come in all colors.
I do.
But that's what they were. They're thugs.
Yeah.
And they don't. You can't have nice things in a big city.
No, you can't.
Is Baton Rouge a lot unsafe than it was when you were there?
You know, it's kind of funny. So Peyton and I lived together for a few years in college, and our office was walking distance from our house. And I would say probably not even a quarter mile was Gardier, which has the highest homicides per capita in Baton Rouge. So we heard gunshots all the time, but they kept it all over there. They never came into where we were. So I mean, as far as unsafe, I mean, I never had a problem. Tigerland is surrounded by Section 8 housing, so I wouldn't recommend like walking around outside of the bar drunk and walking up and down
So
the
at
street.
dark, it gets nervous.
Some places, yes. Some places, yes. I mean, even Houston now. You know, I mean, I live in Houston now. You know,
Look at New Orleans, one of the worst places in the world.
yeah. My family's from New Orleans, and so I mean, they don't even go in the city anymore because they're doing it in the broad daylight because the Latoya, the mayor down there, doesn't enforce anything. And so people are just doing it without any kind of consequences, and they just keep doing it.
You know what we need? We need people in the big cities to quit voting by color. Go vote by character. If you're only want to vote for someone that's black, the inner city people, find you a good black person of character. There's tons of them out there.
Ben Carson.
Yeah, but guys like that don't want to run for office because they don't want the fucking headaches. Or they're too busy working to do that shit. But most of the people that represent these black people are pieces of shit. From Al Sharpton, Sheila Lee Jackson, or Sheila Jackson Lee, whatever the chick in Houston.
I believe it's Reverend Al Sharpton.
Yeah, Maxine, that's the no Reverend. I got in an argument with in Orlando Airport. He was there. And
You're the biggest pussy on earth, Jeff.
I'm not either.
You are too. Al Sharpton walks from here to Ollie from Jeff Stanfield. You know what Jeff Stanfield does? This is what Jeff does when Al walks by.
I can't wait to hear this.
Sits on his fucking hands. Sat right on his hands. So don't come at me.
Funny.
There was a girl in our trip, and she was black, and she was all in love with him and stuff. And she was like, "Oh, he's running for president." I said, "He ain't gonna be fucking president."
You had your chance to tell him whatever you wanted to. He only had one bodyguard, Jeff. You could have fucking head faked that bodyguard and got right in Al's grill.
He was within hearing distance of me, from me to you almost. And I said, I go, "Don't act like that motherfucker's somebody important." I said, "He's a fake pastor, and if he really was fucking had the clout, he thought he'd be riding in a private jet instead of fucking flying like us."
That's a good point.
He's a piece of shit.
Flying Spirit.
Yeah, well, that's what we're doing tomorrow, first class.
Hell yeah, baby.
First class in Spirit.
That's
We're
right.
going to come back next week, and I'm going to have a spirit story, I'm afraid. I hope not.
No, it's all going to be fine. So,
Andy, I'm going on an airplane with Andy.
yeah, it's going to be fucked up.
And every time I go, and this is no shit, we fly a lot together. And what would you say, half the time, Andy? We have a fucking
Probably
problem.
over.
Over half the time. And we fly American most of the time. But we have been stranded lots of places.
One of the last trips we did for Boss, we were going to Ontario. They back us up from the gate 20 yards, 50 yards.
Maybe.
And
We've got like an hour and 15-minute layover at O'Hare.
yeah, they back us up 20, 50 yards. And they're like, ladies and gentlemen, we will be going back to the gate. Our right engine will not fire up.
Oh, shit.
So like we're sitting
Hey,
there.
thanks for letting
we're
us
like,
know.
All right, there's 15 minutes.
It's one of those like
There's
ladies
30
and-
minutes,
ladies
and then you're like, we're not making that. We're not making that connecting
Texted
flight.
Michelle, we are fucked. And so then Jesse was trying to find us a flight from Chicago to Rochester, New York, where we had a rental. Everybody else was meeting us at Rochester. We had a rental car. And I was like, listen, so I'm on the phone with Ricky, and I'm like, listen, you get the rental car, and then if you can get us to Syracuse, we can get a ticket to Syracuse, we can meet you in Syracuse, or we'll fly to Montreal. And I said, we'll just meet y'all at the place if we have to. We can work it out.
Right.
They didn't have shit available. So we went from first class on American to riding in the middle of the fucking row on United.
Yeah, it was me, Jeff, and Tony, and we all had middle seats, and we
Holy
were
shit.
fucking happy to have them.
Yeah, we were lucky as shit.
Yeah.
We were only like 3.5 hours late.
Yeah.
But we were very lucky. I didn't think we were going anywhere. We walked to that American deal, and the lady was really nice, and real nice lady, and she picked us up, and we went from first class to middle row, and I never did get a rebate back from American. Did you get money back from American Airlines?
No,
I didn't either.
Yeah. We got delayed coming out of Houston going to Sheep Show, Peyton and I. And it was when we had that freeze week. And, the big freeze.
At the end of hunting season?
Yeah.
Like late January?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to ride. We got our flight canceled from Dallas, and we had to go fly to Houston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we were sitting there, and it was one of those things where ladies and gentlemen, get on the mic,
Yes,
fuck.
and they're like, oh, we're bringing out the de-icer, right? And it's like, when has Houston ever had to use a de-icer? And they're like, the de-icer doesn't work, so we're
Right.
gonna have to wait for it to warm up. And we're like, shit.
Yeah.
So we flew to Sacramento, and we hopped in an Uber, and great guy, Marine veteran, was an Uber driver, and he drove us to Reno, and it was a fun show. First time at Sheep Show, big fan of Sheep Show. I didn't realize how much of a party it is.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the slogan really is come for the sheep, stay for the party. And so every night after the convention, we'd go to the Peppermill Hotel. Dude, I ran a obstacle race in the hotel lobby. Well, I guess outside of like one of the banquet halls wearing a 50-pound Stone Glacier backpack, raising money or whatever, and it's crazy, dude.
That's a long. How much was the Uber from Sacramento to Reno? That'd be pretty expensive.
$160, something like that.
That wasn't bad at all.
No, not bad at all.
Shit, it costs that much to go across town in Nashville now.
Yeah, it does.
The hunting, the exhibit shows, I'm telling you what, you got to pace yourself.
Absolutely.
We a couple years ago we went to Game Fair, and the guys at Pacific threw like a big blowout party. Mm-hmm. They had fucking an inflatable boxing ring, and like everybody's
I heard
getting
about
in there,
that. Yeah,
duking it out. Like
they need to mow the yard next time.
The Pacific guys, they go hard in the paint.
Oh,
yeah, they do.
He knows. He's part. We talked about him yesterday.
Yeah,
really?
yeah. Well, I mean, the last 2 dove hunts we done with Hella Dry.
Yeah.
Up in Lubbock with Flying Descent. Trevor and Zach. I don't think Trevor came to the first one. If I remember
he came to
right.
the second one.
Yeah, but he was there, and we each company brought out a guy and did an interview with Donnie when he was working with Hella Dry. Now he's with Nothing Fancy.
Yeah.
But we're sitting there, and me and Dirk both did our interviews in the Yeti chair, and then Trevor looks over, and there's a little pond on the back of their property. Everybody gets in there or whatever, and they have like a unicorn blow up floaty, and so Trevor sits on the unicorn, and that's when he did his interview sitting on the unicorn. It was hilarious.
He likes to have fun.
Well, you were saying at Delta last year, he was Little Rock, Arkansas, 3:00 in the morning.
Oh,
all the Pacific guys have Segways, and they're not Segways.
The little scooters.
I was there for a part
You were
of that.
there?
Yeah, I love the
Taco
scooters,
Bell
man.
at 3 in the
Yeah,
morning.
going through the drive-thru.
It's a motor vehicle, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
Funny thing is they drove across the bridge in Little Rock to go eat. Old Bart's has got a restaurant right there. Where they had the Shin Gear had a party.
I was there with Turtle Box.
Okay, we were there, and we got there, and we kept waiting on. Trevor was texting, goes, "Where y'all at?" I said, "I got in the back room." We get there at first. Michelle always wants to be in the party.
Yeah.
Jeff's.
I remember that's where we were hanging out with you guys in the back room.
In the back room. And so we went to the back room and sat down. She goes, "Everybody's in there." I said, "This is the place. It's cool and nice in here." So we went back in there, and then I talked her into go back in there. Well, then everybody else caught on to where we were.
People migrate where it's cool.
And it was nice and cool in that room.
And you could talk.
Nice, and you could talk and visit. The other room was all them young flat bill kids, and it was loud. And I'm not that guy, so I like being in the back. Well, we were there. Well, anyways, Trevor's like, we're late. Well, they come in late. I'm like, what took you so long? Goddamn, them electric scooters wouldn't cross the bridge. They cut off on them.
Oh, they had to walk
They had to go back to Bill and then get a car and then come back to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, them boys have a lot of times. It's funny when people come to these shows, they don't realize all the back stuff that goes on.
Oh my God.
Because a lot of people thinks everybody's competitors there, but everybody has their own group of people they're friends with. And you as you get in this industry longer and longer, you get to meet more people. And so you're more connected to people all the time. My biggest thing, I'm horrible with names. And people come up, and I'll be all the time looking to see. Please, if you're at a hunting show and you work there, keep your name badge on, please. At least I know who you are. Because I can't remember the names.
Yeah.
I'll be like, that's that guy from Grumpy Duck, but I can't remember his name. And that'll be the guy from Shin. I can't remember the second guy's name or this or that. And I do that all the time. Andy's good with names.
No, I'm terrible with names.
Well, you're a lot better than I am because I always rely on you.
Hey, oh boy.
Well, you meet so many people,
Right.
and that's a big thing that we're trying to throw at Delta. So like I said, we're throwing a party July 26th. All exhibitors are invited, friends are invited, industry people are invited. And we'll talk more about it after the show. But we really want to bring everybody together. So what I did was I called Brad Heidel with Delta, and I was like, hey, basically our idea for the party came about at Ducks this past year. We threw a party. Did you come to our Ducks party?
No, we had
did
the
not.
whole family. We went golfing.
Okay,
we
yeah.
were Top Golf that night.
I remember Dirk and the boss guys came. But we had everybody there. And it was basically like, all right, guys, we can throw a party like everybody else does.
Poured down rain, didn't it?
It did. Luckily, the party was like almost about done, and then thankfully it held off for a time. But it was one of those things where it's like, we could just rent out a bar and do like $1,000 bar tab and yell at everybody this whole time, or we can do something different. So me, Patrick Fritz, who was with Duck Camp, then a Rome Adventure Company, now he works at a ranch up in Oregon, Eric Smith with Turtle Box, and then Jason and Jordan with Hella Dry. We were like, let's throw something big. So in 10 days, we planned this party, $300 per company, and we threw a party that fed 120 exhibitors, Wagyu brisket, pork belly, a bunch of other barbecue from my good friend Brennan Lamb, who is with the Pitmaster Collective now. It's like a global collective of pitmasters that do events, catering, classes. Basically, if you're a Pitco Pass member, you get discounts on a lot of outdoor brands, barbecue brands, stuff like that, and you get like a special line at discounts where pitmasters are a Pitco pitmaster. But we threw this party at his buddy's house, Harley. It was like 5 minutes from Texas Motor Speedway, and big outdoor. He had a couple longhorns walking around. We had a bonfire. We shot a flaming arrow into. It was just a hell of a time, and it was just so good for everybody just to unwind, hang out outside, and just communicate and have a lot of fun and fellowship. And so that's kind of what we're recreating in Baton Rouge. So we're doing it at Fred's on that Friday night. We're gonna have a live band. My sister's gonna open up for the live band. She's in a few different bands in Baton Rouge. She's a hell of a singer, and I know I'm biased, but Michelle Mallett, I'm plugging her here. She's incredible. I always say she sounds like if you take Adele and Amy Winehouse and just push them together. She's got that.
Who's Amy Winehouse?
She's dead now.
Oh,
Yeah, she did pass away.
Is she the one who sings the dog song?
What did she?
She sang Valerie. She sang
Rehab.
Rehab.
I'm gonna go to rehab. No.
Yeah, you've probably heard her.
You've heard her. Jeff does this. Jeff's like, I don't know who they are, and then you play a song like, oh yeah, I listen to that all the time.
I don't listen to it all the time. I think who sings the SPCA song?
What?
R-E-S-P-E-C-T?
No, that's Aretha. I know she's the queen of soul.
Yeah.
The song with the damn poor animals that are dying that they always play on
What's fucking?
Oh, In the Arms of the Angels?
I don't know what it is.
In the arms
That's like
yeah.
Sarah Evans. Or
I think
something
so,
like
yeah.
that.
Something
Okay,
like that.
anyways, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Anyway, but we're going to have live music. We're going to have food. We're going to have drinks. A lot of my friends and business partners and stuff, we're having a lot of sponsors come in for that. So it's going to be a hell of a time, and it's really all about fellowship. It's bringing in companies that you would see as competitors and letting everybody have a good time and hang out for the night at Fred's. It's like a 5-minute drive from the River Center, so it's right down the road. And, look, Mallard Bay was born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, so it's on our home turf, our backyard. Mm-hmm. So we're really excited to throw something big for everybody to enjoy.
How long's Delta going to be at? Is it a 2-year contract with Baton Rouge?
I'm not positive.
See, the rumor kept saying that they were going to move Turkey to Vegas, but I didn't hear nothing about it. So I'm assuming
Really?
Turkey's still going to be at Nashville.
As
I
far
think
as
going
I
to
know.
Vegas would be stupid.
I think so too.
I think it's a perfect venue for them.
I think so too. What do you think about Ducks going to Memphis?
Excited.
Me too.
I think
it's
that's.
gonna
I
be
think it's going to
excited
be
too.
really good. It'll be a. I like the idea of being indoors. I do not like outdoor events.
Ducks at Texas Motor Speedway. Luckily we were indoors, and I know you guys were too. But I know y'all didn't have AC the first day.
Oh, it's fucking hotter than shit now.
dude. I feel for the guys that were outside.
Because it was like just plastic piping. It's basically how
Yeah,
they did the AC.
yeah,
So
yeah.
like they had like one little bitty where they like took a nail or something,
just,
like
like,
popped it.
yeah.
Fucking Dirk that
Yeah,
next
yeah.
day, he's like, this ain't gonna cut it. He just
Wow. Yeah.
so you would stand in parts of the booth and you would almost freeze to death.
Yeah.
So you'd have to like walk because the hole was just blowing cold air, and we were like from here to that entry door from the unit. So
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it was
yeah.
cold air.
Absolutely.
And then like poor guys down, like we fucked up their air supply.
The one guy told me later, he goes, how'd y'all get that cut open like that? It was right towards the end, like 15 minutes later.
Just started
Pocket
ripping.
knife?
I don't
I said,
know.
we did that ourselves. He's like, fuck, I wish I'd have thought about doing that shit.
Yeah.
Get your pocket knife out, dude. Be industrious.
But I will say this much for Ducks. David and Jimbo and them, they done a hell of a job by bringing in them portable air conditioners.
Oh yeah, like they worked all night. We talked to David the next day, and he was like, "Yeah, like we were up all night making sure that this AC unit was put in right." I think it's going to be good. I think it's good that they're taking a year off, and everybody's kind of because we've talked to David quite a bit. We've talked to Jimbo with Ducks Unlimited. Jimbo was out here hunting with us for 3 days, and he's like, "We're going to do it right in Memphis."
Yeah.
So I think taking a year off and kind of assessing, where everything needs to be.
Well,
I think
because they're
it's a
the
good thing.
biggest brand in waterfowl.
They are.
People can say what you want to. The DU brand is one of the most iconic logos. Nike, when you see Nike, you know it's Nike. When you see Coca-Cola, you know it's Coca-Cola. Ducks Unlimited is one of them.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of those logos that everybody knows. I don't give a shit if you're a duck hunter, you know what Ducks Unlimited is.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, you got to think of Memphis, right? It's Mecca's right there.
Yes.
Everybody's going to go to the pyramid.
I went to the old Ducks Unlimited back in the day. And I think it was called, it doesn't matter what it's called. But anyways, I went to Shelby Farms. We had a booth there in 1996 or 97.
Okay.
Was my first year I did the DU show there.
Wow. Yeah.
They had a show there, and they used to have one in Oshkosh, Wisconsin.
Okay.
And now they got the Seawee, and I would really like to see Seawee
Yeah,
one day.
we had a couple guys go off to Seawee, and I've heard Seawee has turned more into like an art show, like a arts and expensive goods kind of thing. Which I mean, a lot of people that go to Seawee, that's what they're looking for, right? In fact, I was talking with one of the Beretta reps at Turkey Show, and he was saying they pulled their normal shotguns that they would normally have at a booth, and they just do like their Upland engraved over unders and nicer.
Know your
shotguns
crowd.
like that. Yeah,
If you go to the Safari
Absolutely.
Club in Dallas,
yeah.
there ain't nobody fucking shining shoes there probably.
Well, They did have some shoe shiners. Actually. Yeah, they did. I got my boot shine. To be honest,
you walked out.
But Dallas show's now going to be in Atlanta.
The Dallas Safari, yeah, I saw that. The Dallas Safari Club show is going
to Atlanta. I can't fathom how they couldn't find a venue in Fort Worth.
I can't fathom wanting to go to Atlanta.
Well, yeah. But, I mean, look, the good thing is for us now is, like, I guarantee there's going to be booth spots opened up.
Right.
And that 6-year waiting list is probably going to get killed because everybody wants to go to Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta's, I've never had a bad experience in Atlanta, but I've been to Atlanta 3 times. I didn't lose nothing there, and I don't have no reason to go back.
Yeah.
But, you know, when I hear all the crime stuff, I don't hear Atlanta's name, so Atlanta might not be a bad place.
I spent 2 weeks there between the SEC championship and the semifinal game, or the year we won the championship, because we played both games in Georgia. And I had a good time.
That's what I'm saying.
Had any problems at all.
I don't hear nothing about Atlanta having. I'm sure they've got every big city's got a lot of problems.
I mean,
hell,
it's like
Dallas
else,
Dallas is a shithole.
Yeah,
I'm telling you right now, you get out of the wrong neighborhoods in Dallas.
Oh yeah, no, it's weird. It's
bad.
like it's one of those things where it's like this neighborhood is upper middle class, family homes, all these other things, and you go across the street and it's bad. I mean, it's crime ridden.
I'm a member of a page on Facebook that I follow called Smash the Topic. It's SMASHDA Topic, and it's a black page. And I started watching it. A police officer buddy of mine told me to watch it about 2016. He goes, "You need to watch this page because this guy's at everything." And that's when that's when the police officers in Dallas got shot, and we were having all the fucking marches and shit, and all that crap was going on. Obama was still in office then. And he told me, he said, "Watch this." He said, "This guy here," he says, "he leans left," but he goes, "He's at everything." And so I started watching him. And I do now. And they've got 2 or 3 people that are reporters that work for them, and they're not professional reporters, but they're at every shooting and everything. And I'm telling you right now, the city of Dallas, they had a video the other day, and it showed a neighborhood like 1985. And it's like this neighborhood, it was an old neighborhood, and it was showing, look at a difference, 40 years later. And now every house has got windows. If there's a house there, it's got bars on the windows. And it's just, and it's every city in our country is just crime ridden now. Big time.
Yeah,
you live in Houston.
It's alarming.
Do you not, is your head on a swivel more there? Like when we went out and ate last night, you never think about nothing.
No.
But when you go to Houston, you've got to worry about that shit.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like last night, I was comfortable having my back to the door.
Yeah.
But most places I go, I like to watch the door. I during the day, it's fine. I've never had any issues. And I've never had any issues at night. But you always got to think about at night, just being careful.
Even at a stoplight.
Stoplight, gas station.
Like I always leave room. If I'm in a big city,
absolutely.
I always leave a car length ahead between us because Michelle will be like, "Why are you so far?" I said, "So we can get the fuck out of here if we have to."
No, my dad told me that when I was first driving. Yeah. I mean, it's just in case, it's
you
always
never know.
better prepared.
I've never had nobody try to carjack me.
Yeah, me neither.
But I had a buddy of mine come out of Walmart one night, and he was a nurse, and he got off like at 11. He went into Walmart and he bought some lottery tickets. Why the fuck you go to Walmart to buy lottery tickets? I have no idea. But
better chances. I don't know.
Yeah.
He was walking across the parking lot for leaving, and he had his lottery tickets in his hand. And this guy come up to him, this white crackhead come up to him, and he's like, "Hey, man, you got a couple of bucks I can borrow?"
Yeah.
He goes, "Man, I ain't got no money. I'm sorry." "What the fuck? You ain't got no money? You got money for lottery tickets. You ain't got no money to give me?"
That's why I don't have money.
And Keith,
buying a lot of tickets.
I just spent it all, dude.
Keith goes, "Oh, I may have some money in my console. Let me look." "Okay, that's better, man."
He follows into the truck.
Guy over to his car, and Keith opened up his console, pulled his gun out, and he said, "I ain't got no fucking money. Get the fuck away from me." Oh, and took off running and shit.
Yeah.
But fuck, that's
it's worrisome, man. It is really worrisome. I mean, I had a guy in Atlanta, homeless guy, yell at me across the street, "Hey, man, you got any money, whatever?" And I like to help out when I can. But I was just like, "Man, look, I'm sorry, I have no cash." And he goes, "Well, there's an ATM around the corner." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna walk up to the ATM and pull out my bank account and pull out money for come on, man."
That wears me. We was at Starbucks in Wichita Falls on Kemp Street, and I'm sitting in line. And this guy comes up. And he's on a fucking bicycle. Some bitch is fat fuck like me on a bicycle, no shirt on, no pride at all. He comes up and he's like, "Man, you got some money?" I go, "What?" He goes, "You got some money?" I said, "Listen, fat ass." I said, "You see that sign right there? It says help wanted. There's 3 fucking signs within a block here. People
Look how much money
I said,
they
"Go
got."
get a fucking job." Oh, it pissed me off. And I'm a sucker for people that need help.
Yeah.
I mean, if he'd have had a dog with him that was malnourished,
Well,
I'd
there
probably
you
give some
go,
money.
yeah.
With the
Or a
Sarah
kid.
Give him a
Evans
bag
song.
of dog food.
Arms of the Angel. You want to get money, people just have that song playing in your pocket.
But I thought, you fat fucker. Get a job. You can ride that bike
get
across the
paid
street.
right there,
McDonald's
yeah.
is hiring $15 an hour.
Yeah.
Go over and get a job. And I told him that. He didn't like that shit.
I'm sure he
Get
didn't.
a fucking job.
I'm sure he didn't.
They spend as much time looking for begging and shit, they could go get a job.
Yeah.
I legitimately feel sorry for people that work that can't pay their bills.
Mm-hmm.
You wanna choke me up? I watch you at Walmart with your debit card that don't work, not your EBD card, but your debit card, and you go try to swap that card, and you don't have enough money to buy $32 worth of groceries, and your kids are having to put shit back up. Let me tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to pay for it.
Yeah.
Every freaking time I'm going to do that shit. But I don't want you to tell me thank you or anything at all. If you say thanks, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I did that in town to a lady one time, and she came in the parking lot, was bawling and wanting to hug me and stuff. I was so embarrassed.
No,
I was
I'm
like,
doing
I
this,
was like, lady, listen, I'll give you a $100 bill if you'll just leave me alone right now, okay? Because I didn't do it to be. I felt sorry for her.
Yeah.
Now, it was $12 or something, and I was like, here, just put that on mine.
Yeah, you know, I have a quick story related to that. So my dad's a lot of things. Entrepreneur, he's been in oil and gas for his entire life. Like I said, grew up on a dirt road and did everything he's done without a college education. In fact, I'm the first one in my family with a college degree. It meant a lot to me. And my dad at the time, him and my mom were getting their businesses off and just working hard, grinding out. And he was eating lunch at a restaurant in Lake Charles called Honeybee Ham. Excellent sandwiches. I mean, they do,
They are very
crawfish,
good.
all kinds of stuff. Yeah. And my dad, for a little while, had video poker machines. Like before video poker was like a thing. Like it was just coming out. And he had one in Mr. Joe's shop. And he saw a guy pull up in, a raggedy car, whole family, everything else. Guy gets out, goes in the little video poker area and walks off disgruntled and mad after like 15 minutes of obviously losing money, right? And Dad said he went home and he was like, Anna, it's my mom. He was like, we're done with that.
Yeah.
And she's like, what are you talking about? We're starting to make money on that. And he's like, no, I can't do it. I absolutely can't do it. And, he told me that. And when I was a little younger, I didn't quite understand. I was like, Dad, well, that was money for our family. Like why, I mean, I get protecting people and I want to help as many people out, but I was like, but that was his choice kind of thing. And Dad hit me with the Chris Kyle quote, he's like, look, man, there's sheep, there's wolves, and there's sheepdogs. Like, which one are you going to be?
Right.
And I was like, oh, shit, like,
Yeah.
Who's the famous lady that was an actress that dated Howard Hughes?
You're beyond my
I'm
timeline.
not sure.
She talks real. She has a real funny. Look this up real quick. She has a real funny accent, kind of. Anyway, she was kind of a lady of means, but she grew up poor. She grew up with not a lot of money. Her parents were okay, but they didn't have a lot of money, and I can't. It's not Rita Hayworth. God dang it. It's not Jessica Tandy.
Did he marry her or not?
No, dated her.
Okay. The Many Loves of Howard Hughes.
Many love.
He had a lot of them. Katharine Hepburn.
Okay, I'll go with it.
Is she one of them?
Yeah, she's one of them.
It
1938.
was Katharine Hepburn. Anyway, so Katharine Hepburn said that she and her dad were going to go see the Barnum and Bailey Circus in New York City when she was 15 years old, 16 years old. And they were come from a decent family, not a lot of money, but a decent family. Anyways, there was a family in front of them, a father, a mother, and 2 or 3 kids. And the kids were so excited. We're going to go see the tigers. We're going to see the lions, blah, blah, blah. And they were all excited. So the guy went up and he got to the window in front of him and he said, I need tickets for 2 adults and 3 kids. And the lady goes, that'd be $10. He goes, $10? It's like, yeah. He's like, oh. And she said, I could see the dad, just the face, his colored face and stuff. And her dad goes, oh, sir, hold on. He said, you dropped this money, and he gave him a $20 bill.
That's cool.
And she said the guys looked at him and he goes, kind of put it in his hand and kind of shook his head. And he's like, thank you so much. And he bought the tickets and stuff. And they went in and she said, we didn't get to go to the circus because that was the money that we had for us to go to the circus.
Yeah.
And she goes, I'll never forget my dad helping a stranger out. Yeah. And that always touched my heart. Because that's doing the right thing. It's not the right thing because it's not wrong if you don't help them, because Andy would not have helped him.
I would have.
But it's the right thing to do, to be good to someone without having to do it for the wrong reasons.
Right. And putting others before yourself.
Yeah. And
it's all
just,
about service.
Yes. And we need more of that in the world.
I agree.
Okay, we've gotten way off topic. We've talked about everything.
We're 2 hours in, and we
No
haven't even.
shit.
Yeah.
Are we actually 2 hours in?
Yeah, that's a good podcast.
Hour and 53 minutes. Yeah.
When we talk a lot and we don't know the time. When I'm sitting down there and I look and there's 32 minutes
no
gone,
way.
I'm like,
Really?
son of a bitch. Yeah.
Holy shit! It's 11 o'clock.
So let's talk Turtle Box. No, let's not talk Turtle Box. We'll talk about that man. Let's talk Mallard Bay. Okay.
This was born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Just a bunch of college buddies and started a business
Yeah,
together.
so really the whole story kind of starts out in 7th grade. So back in 7th grade, Logan Moe and his family moved from South Lake, Texas, to Lake Charles, and we were friends right off the bat. My dad was coaching football, and his dad called up my dad and said, "Hey, I want to help you coach football. I think our friends would get along, our kids would get along, be friends," and we did. And fast forward to sophomore year of high school, Logan's dad founds a company called Waiter. And the Waiter app, have y'all heard of the Waiter app before? So it was like the first like DoorDash, Grubhub of the South. It wasn't huge in Texas, but it was very much the first like food delivery in the South. Hurricane Harvey kind of screwed up the Houston market with deliveries, but anyway. So long story short, Logan and I are the first 2 Waiter drivers. We're delivering food at 16. And then at 17, we're dashboard managers, which means we have 2 screens in front of us, and we're dealing with restaurants, we're dealing with customers, we're dealing with customer service stuff coming in, and we're managing drivers. So we could be over 25 drivers one night, we could be over 250 drivers one night. We had their GPS locations, and we're mapping out, picking up orders, and I mean, it's like a high speed, high intensity thing to do at 17 years old. You know, I mean, I'm like, if you go deliver food at LaBerge or the Golden Nugget, and you're sitting there for 30 minutes after your food says dropped off, get your ass back to work. You know, like you're out there gambling or doing whatever. And so we matured business-wise very fast through that. Then fast forward to sophomore year of college, ended up going, Waiter went public, so we rang the bell at the NASDAQ, and Tillman Fertitta ended up purchasing Waiter.
The guy that owns the Houston Rockets.
The Rockets and Landry's and all those other things. And so Logan took his dad on a hunting trip in Oklahoma. It was supposed to be a 3-day trip, ended up being a 1-day trip. They got double booked, 13 people in the blind, 1 shot was fired, and it wasn't them. And a few $1,000s out, hey, where's our money? No refunds. You know, just screwed, right?
Yeah.
And so they were like, does this problem happen to more people than us? And as we know now in the hunting industry, it happens all the time. There's all these outfitters that, you know, they're not vetted, they're not verified, you don't know who they are. They're Bob and Joe's outfitters down the street, and they're screwing people. So Logan was like, how do we fix this? So Logan had a few people come on board in 2019 at LOC'd, and for about a year he was trying to get it up started, but because of school and college and everything else, it just wasn't happening. Well, he ended up finding Tam, who's one of our co-founders. He's from Vietnam. Tam Nguyen, he went to Ole Miss, graduated from Ole Miss, and he was our technical co-founder. So the programming, the development, all those different things like that. And then I guess September-ish of 2020, he's in a business class with Joel, who's another one of our co-founders, Joel Morrow from Lafayette. And Joel was just kind of looking at his computer like, what's this kid doing? You know, this looks very interesting kind of thing. Started talking to Logan. They went out and grabbed a drink, became friends. Now he's a co-founder of Mallard Bay. And then Logan was like, well, I need somebody to lead the sales and networking, kind of the relationship side of it. And so he called me up. And I guess it was probably March of 2021 is when he brought me in as the 4th and final co-founder. And you know, he was kind of like, I had football going on, and the stuff with the vaccine was going on and everything else. And he ended up telling me, he's like, look, dude, he's like, if you quit football, I'll pay the last semester of your college. And it ended up, he didn't do that, but just, you know, him and I are brothers. I mean, blood brothers. Our family is very close. We go on vacations together. We spend so much time together. And I'm a very 100% kind of guy. Like if I'm doing something, I'm going to be passionate about it. I'm going 100%. So I told him that I was committed to it, and we built it out over that year. We launched November 2021. That's when we brought Peyton on that I was talking about earlier. We brought Bennett on that I was talking about earlier, and another guy that was family friends and a fraternity brother, I believe, of Joel's, Andrew Gregory, who came on. And Andrew's interesting cat, man. I love Andrew to death. He wears this boonie hat that's got mallard curls all the way around it. And he's just an awesome young hunter. And we launched November 2021. We were in 4 states, and I think we had about 12 outfitters. And a couple of those early outfitters were Vince Kimbrough of Prairie Bomb, and another guy, Andrew Weisman at Jelks Bayou Hunting Lodge. And the funny story about Jelks Bayou is I was in Hawaii, and I called his head guide, and we had a great conversation. I thought they were going to sign up, and because like I said, we were just trying to get early adopters. I mean, for free. I mean, we weren't charging anything at that point. It was just free on the platform. And so he ended up calling me, dude. It was one morning at like 6 or 6:30 in the morning. I get woken up on a phone call, and this is like around November of 2021. And he answers the phone. This guy's like kind of breathing heavy on the phone, and I'm like, you know, hello. Like I just woke up, you know. And he goes, hey, you know, my name is Andrew Weisman. I'm the owner of Jelks Bayou Hunting Lodge. I understand you talked to my head guide. By the way, I'm on my Peloton right now, so I apologize if I'm breathing hard. And I'm like, you know,
right.
And they ended up being our first ever top waterfowl outfitter. And me and Andrew are friends to this day. I mean, we went hunting in Kansas this past year at Cheyenne Creek. But anyway, his lodge was up in Bastrop, Louisiana, North Louisiana. And it just became that. And at the start, it was more of a booking platform. We were so committed and just driven to close up people's calendars, to get people bookings from. We were working with vetted and verified outfitters, and we were trying to get them good clients. And I mean, when I tell you, we busted our ass to try to sell hunts, but we're young and didn't understand how saturated the booking agency market is and how hard it really is to do that kind of thing. So we were just pushing and pushing and pushing, getting outfitters on and selling hunts. And then we took part in a competition called the Rice Business Plan Challenge. It was a college startup competition at Rice in Houston. We didn't know it was the largest college business plan challenge in the world until we went. So they took 32 teams from colleges around the world. I'm talking Johns Hopkins, MIT, Munich, Germany was there, Harvard was there. And then here comes, 6 guys in blue jeans, polos, and Tecovas cowboy boots. And we went in there against lab coats and suits, and we busted their ass. Like, we went in there, and out of 32 teams, we placed, I want to say we placed 9th out of 32 teams, but we placed 2nd and money won. So over the weekend, it was a pitch competition. You know, me and Joel are up there pitching to 30 or so people. Yeah. Except it was a little bit bigger. We had like 30 or so judges, and we had a few pitches. And the first pitch, I fucking bombed on. I completely, nerves just killed me. I was in the shower that night rehearsing, and so the next 2 we killed. But that was a pivotal point in our business because we won over $300,000 in investments award given to us.
Oh, wow.
We didn't take it all because it's one of those things where they give you the big check of the banquet and everybody's cheering, and then they're like, okay, here's the terms, kind of thing.
Right.
But anyway, that got a lot of buzz and a lot of PR. And a lot of good stuff from LSU too, because we were the first and still only team from LSU to compete in this challenge. We went back last year as guests, and it was a hell of a time. But that happened, and then I would say the next pivotal moment in our business where we really switched up from the booking kind of model. There's a company out there called Bourbon Media. Toby Brolin with Cadillac Creek's one of their clients, Whiskey Slews, K2 Coolers. Basically, they built websites that did marketing, social media services, stuff like that. And so we're like, guys, how do we incorporate those things into our business? Well, we ended up acquiring Bourbon Media and bringing on 3 of their guys, Garrett Shackelford, who's our VP of Marketing, Nick Kriegsman, who's our VP of Operations, and then Caleb Richard, who builds all of our websites. So when we did that, we rebranded Bourbon Media to Guide Tech. So basically now we have Mallard Bay, which is what we call the Airbnb of hunting and fishing. Right. It's the same platform as Airbnb. You go on Airbnb, you look up a place or a date, you find a place. Mallard Bay, you look up a state or a species, you're going hunting or fishing. And to clear the air, it's not all booking Airbnbs to go hunting. It's booking trips. If your outfitter has a lodge like this, you could stay at their lodge, or we have DIY hunts or day hunts or what have you, fishing trips. But once Guide Tech came along, now we're like, how do we really help the outfitter? Because we had a whole back end built out in-house by our developers with calendar management, with editable listings. You get an account manager to help you 24/7, all these different things. And then when we brought on that, it was like, okay, now we can really be a one-stop shop for outfitters and charters by processing payments, building them a website, doing marketing, doing social medias for them, running all their trips, having their customer service for them. And that kind of thing. And that really was the pivotal moment in our business to kind of help the outfitters and the sportsmen alike. I mean, we're all about enhancing all of our outfitters and sportsmen's trips any way we can. And so that's kind of what Mallard Bay is today, is just a growing platform of that and helping people on the back end. And we've built websites for other companies in the industry and done some marketing services and stuff like that. So it's been a hell of a ride, man. It's been,
y'all just signed Dirty Duck, right?
We did. We just signed a marketing contract with Dirty Duck, so we're doing some of their marketing services for them. We just signed. We're doing Miger's website right now. Doing a few other things like that, and it's really just about us bringing together the industry and doing whatever we can to help people.
What is the vetting system of outfitters? Because I've been in this game a long time. I don't care how long you've done it. I don't care what. I don't care if you're at a 5-star, $10,000 a day place, or you're hunting with Joe Bob meet you at the gas station. Right. You're going to have an experience. Someone is going to have a bad experience every year.
You are right.
Some of it is the fault of the outfitter. With us, I'm going to say 8 out of 10 times it has nothing to do with us. Would you say that's probably safe, Andy?
Yeah.
But 2 times out of 10, there'll be something that we screwed up on. Now, we own up to if we screw something up.
Absolutely.
But so many people go on a guided hunt, and if they don't shoot a limit, they think that they're getting screwed. And that's not the case. You paid for a guided hunt.
Right.
You didn't kill for a... If you want to shoot a limit every time, we can do release pheasant hunts all day long.
Yeah.
And when you go with an outfitter, you think you're putting the edge on yourself to have a better quality, a better experience, and a better quality place to hunt. And it should be that way, but it is hunting sometimes. But how do you do with these fly-by-night guys that want to come along? Because there are tons of them. Social media has completely changed this guy.
Yeah.
A guy, grandma's got 100 acres. He has a pond on it. Him and his buddies go duck hunting twice a month on it. They shoot a limit every time.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know that he can't hunt it every day, but he gets in business to sell it.
Right. Absolutely.
How do y'all vet on
Yeah,
that?
so that's a great question because, as you just said, I mean, it's hard. So Facebook has been a huge tool for us. You can look up any name or any company, and you can find something about them on Facebook.
Yes.
Facebook has been huge. Referrals have been huge. Outfitters in the area have been huge because it's one of those things like if we sign up, we'll say, hey, we work with you guys, right? All of a sudden, it's like everybody in your area that wants to be on Mallard Bay, I'm calling y'all and saying, hey, who is this guy? Does he run a legit business? What do you know? Good, bad, ugly, right? So it's really like we've built this network of partnerships with our outfitters because we call our outfitters and charters our partners. They're not a number to us.
Right.
The only way we can make it is we make it together. Excuse me. And so that's really been the heavy part of the vetting and verifying. And like you said, sometimes outfitters slip through the cracks and stuff happens, and then I'm the guy that gets on them and fixes it. And if we can't fix it, sometimes we have to fire a client or two. It's one of those things where you're representing us, we're representing you, and if we're aligned and we're like-minded, then we're going to be successful. But if I have constant complaints from sportsmen about the same thing that we've talked about multiple times, and hey, you got to fix it before you can come back on Mallard Bay.
We had a group of assholes that were here. It was a whole group of them. They had great hunting. Food was good, everything. They were just assholes. They were no fun to be around for nobody else around the lodge or nothing. The other clients, not the guides, because guides, I have guides all the time that come in like, God, that guy group's an asshole, blah, blah. And they're good to me.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's guys I think are horses' asses that are great to the guides. Can be a personality conflict, but
right.
That happens. That's very common that you've got a group that's got one guy and it's a horse's rear or something. But we had one group of guys that was really horses' asses this year, and then he called me back about booking a hunt. I'm not going to book him.
Yeah.
And then we had we had 2 guys that were in with a big group that done some shady shit. They took all the birds of the group, stuff like that. But we didn't. Can you think of anything? We didn't have really bad this year, did we?
No, I mean, but I don't know. I'm also to the point of where I am in life to where, I don't know what you'd call it, but like when that group's gone, like it's just kind of fades out of my memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, you start over.
I have a short memory about a lot of things.
But we didn't have a lot of issues this year that I can remember. And probably somebody listens, I hunted with you this year, and blah, 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 But we didn't have very many. And my books show it because we're about 80% booked for next season already.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you're going to have experiences. But people sometimes think they're going to get more than they're going to get. And what will really shock you is a group that'll have good hunts for 10 years in a row, and they'll have one bad hunt, and they'll be pissed and moaning around here. I'm thinking,
they won't want to come back.
Jesus Christ, you've had 30 hunts. You've hunted 30 different days
of the time
in the morning.
It's going to be
and you've never had a bad day, and we just had a bad. It's hunting.
It's hunting.
You're booking a
it's
hunting
not
trip.
Killing. Yeah.
But there's also a ton of guys out there now that sell hunts that have no business selling hunts.
Yeah.
I mean, and guys floor me. They'll be like, well, God dang, you didn't do this. Are they going to give me my money back? Well, first of all, he shouldn't give you your money back because he get you on a hunt. You booked a hunt. Right. And that's what he took you on. Now, if he's hunted that same field 18 days in a row, you still hunted.
Absolutely.
But yes, he probably shouldn't be doing what he's doing, but he took you hunting and fulfilled what he told you he was going to do. Too many people think if you don't shoot a full limit, you're just going to give them their money back.
Right.
I see that shit all the time because I love reading the turmoil pages on Facebook, the waterfowl deals, and guys bitch and gripe about people. And 10% of the time, the client has really got a good point, but 90% of the time, the outfitter didn't do nothing wrong.
Yeah.
It just was bad hunting.
Yeah. And, it's one of those things because I deal with all of this in our company is like, did the outfitter do everything he could possibly do to make sure you had a successful hunt?
Yeah.
Yes or no? And if he did and the birds didn't fly, sorry. It's hunting. We say it, we preach it. It's hunting and fishing. It's not killing and catching.
Yeah.
I feel for that guy that has shitty hunting, whatever the situation is. to go out and deal with that every single
Yeah.
fucking day and knowing you're not going to kill nothing. And I've known guys that have hunted in that situation. I've known some guys in our area that don't have nowhere to hunt and they're selling hunts. And I'm thinking that poor son of a bitch right there is just putting up himself. That's going to be a long ass day.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
You know, and that, but it's still the hunting part. But so there's really nothing. People need to do more homework.
Yes.
Before you go on a hunt with someone, you need to do a homework on where you're going to hunt.
Right. Well, that's a big part of what our job is doing that homework for the client, right?
Yes, that's a service you're providing.
Yes. But yeah, so like I said, with the Guide Tech product in our company, it's just such a. I mean, we're very blessed, and we're very blessed to do what we do, and we take care of our outfitters and our charters and our sportsmen alike. That's kind of our goal.
Did you see Guide Tech, like when you first started Mallard Bay, did you see kind of long-term vision, like what we could do?
Yes, because we already had the back end built out for our outfitters. I didn't know that we'd ever be building websites or doing marketing services. But I knew that we were going to constantly upgrade the back end of our system. And a lot of that goes hand in hand with like some guys from Wader, for instance. So like Mr. Chris is the chairman of our board. We have a lot of great mentors and advisors. We brought on one of Wader's co-founders to be our head developer. We brought in another guy as an advisor. Now he's a full-time employee, Jacob Henderson. He exited with a company called Local Med. It was a pharmaceutical company. But Manny, that came from Wader, he's our head developer now. And I mean, it's like leaps and bounds with our development. Because I mean, we work, like I said, we work very hand in hand with our outfitters and our charters. Like if our outfitter says, hey, it would be really cool if I could pay my guides through the platform or whatever, right? And so we take that back to our developers and they say, okay, yeah, we can have that done in 2 months.
Right.
Or we can have that done in a week. Yeah. It just depends on really what it is. And like one of the most recent features we put out was our send a quote feature. So now on Mallard Bay, if you're an outfitter or a charter, you can either call your account manager and he will do it for you, or you can go on the back end, you can put send a quote, you could do your waterfowl listing. And the guy says, I got 4 people, I want to come November 4th, 5th, and 6th. Well, you can put all that together, add how many people, you can lock or unlock the dates. Say you give them like a week to pick whatever dates you want or however many people you have, and you can type in comments or whatever, and you can send them a link. And they click on that link and they strictly just go straight to checkout. You see the entire outlay of the trip, when you're arriving, when you're departing, what the hunt is, continue to check out, and it's booked. It's basically sending an invoice. Instead of having to select on the calendar, it's just convenience, right?
Yeah.
It's just fixing the little things and making it more convenient for the customers.
Yeah. What was harder, the first couple of years? Because it's always an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Like, you bust your ass to get it, to make it, and then you get to the dance, and then, you're constantly busting your ass on, well, how do we take these next step forward? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I'd say for the outfitter side, it was harder at the beginning. Because we're the new kids on the block, we're the little dogs, right?
Yeah,
and we're doing everything to prove ourselves worthy. Because you enter any kind of new industry, you got to fight tooth and nail just to get in.
Right.
But yeah, I would say the first year or so was probably the hardest, because it was just getting guys on and then fulfilling the promises that we'd promised to do with them. I mean, now, man, we've got it went from like strictly cold calls to referrals to now a lot of people call us.
Yeah.
And I mean, we still do all our outreach and we go to expos and meet outfitters and stuff like that, but it's become such a network per se of just people that are like, hey, like, you help me out. Well, you need to help out my 2 buddies down the street, and my buddy's also an outfitter in Kansas or whatever. So it's been one of those things where we've just been blessed to have the outfitters and the charters that we have on, the true supporters of our brand. And I mean, it'll never be easy, but I would say it was harder the first year.
Yeah. It's just like kind of like the podcast. Like, you bust your ass to make it, and then, you finally get there, and it's like, okay, well, how do we stay here?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And it's just like, it's almost like it never stops.
Yeah.
I guess if it does stop, you're probably going to go backwards.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. It's day in, day out, 24/7. I mean, this morning at 7:00, I was getting customer support calls, fixing payments and stuff like that. So like what I do, for instance, so I'm one of our founders and I'm our VP of customer and industry success. So I deal with all of our customer service and success. I deal with the financial department with Joel. I do all of our refunds, our transfers, and collections and stuff like that. So like if you're right now standard, it's 2 days out, your payment's going to get run for your trip. So you put down your deposit the day of your booking, and then 2 days before the trip. Customary, some guys do a month out, some guys do 2 weeks out. It just depends. But it's 2 days out. Your card automatically gets ran that you paid for your deposit to go on your hunting trip. Say you're going on Friday, it's going to run on Wednesday, kind of thing. Well, a lot of times, there will be a failed payment. I say a lot of times, not really a lot of times,
Right,
but it
it
happens,
happens.
right? Whether the bank declines it, or you thought that card would have more money at the time, or you have a spending limit, or whatever. It happens all the time. So it's usually just a quick call from me or text, and we figure it out. But that allows us to know my customers as well.
Right.
So I'm constantly talking to customers, talking to brands, talking to outfitters, different things like that. And I'm also, like I said, in the industry success part, I deal with a lot of businesses, brands, stuff like that. Boss, all kinds of different companies that we work with. Pecos, Hella Dry, Nothing Fancy, Turtle Box, all these different guys. We kind of have like our we coined it the Texas Mafia. So it's Hella Dry, Turtle Box, Pecos Tables. We have Brennan with the Pitmaster Collective doing events for us and stuff like that. And we all just kind of get together and have a good time.
So what did y'all do like when you first started out? Was it just like a social media blitz almost of getting the Mallard Bay name out there and
Yeah.
what we can do for you?
Yeah, it was a lot of Google ads, a lot of Facebook campaigns, stuff like that. And it was a lot of, the cold calls. Hey, have you heard of Mallard Bay before? No, what's that? Well, here it is. We kind of talk them through and yeah, it was just a big media push, just getting the name out there as much as we could.
Yeah, because like Jeff said earlier, social media has changed everything.
Absolutely.
You can reach so many people on, like you said, a boosted post or
Yeah.
something that strikes an interest. But because that it's changed the way people book hunts, because now they can just come. It's a one-stop shop, like you said.
Right.
They don't have to. The customer doesn't have to call through 6 different outfitters to see which one fits for them.
Right.
They can just come to your app and
Right.
whatever they want to see.
And we do have a full-time sales team. So if you wanted to call into Mallard Bay and just inquire about a trip,
Yeah.
JP is going to pick up the phone and talk to you about it. And he's going to curate exactly what you're looking for, what you want. You give him a budget, you give him the time of year to go, and he's going to put you on the most successful trip he could possibly put you on.
How often do you guys go boots on the ground with the companies that you work with?
All year.
All year?
All year long. Yep.
Yeah.
We're during the hunting season, I can't even tell you how many different outfitters we all visited collectively. We'll all just go on the road, usually in teams of 2. Sometimes we go solo. But that's the good thing about the hunting industry, and then the friendship aspect of it and the relationship aspect of it is whether or not we're going for business or for fun, we're getting invited all over the place.
Yeah.
Which it's amazing for us. That's what we grew up doing. It's what we love, right? I can't be thankful enough to the guys that take us out.
Now you wrestled Jason from Hella Dry, didn't you?
I did wrestle him. I did wrestle
at the Dove at the Dove show.
We did wrestle, yes. And in his defense, he was probably a little worn out. He
Yeah.
was wrestling a kid out there. I think he was one of the guides out there. They were going at it for a little while, and then I took my shirt off and we got after it. And, we just rolled around, and I threw him in an arm bar, and we had a good time.
Does
man.
he have any wrestling experience?
I don't. So he played
a big
football
guy.
at Texas Tech.
Oh,
Him and his brother
yeah.
both.
Right.
No, I love Jason to death, man. I think he does jiu-jitsu, though.
Does he?
Yeah, he does. But we were just messing around, drinking.
He was tired.
Back to the Mallard Bay.
Yeah.
As an outfitter, we have a lot of outfitters that listen to this
Yeah,
podcast.
yes, sir.
A lot of them do.
Yeah.
What can you do for them on the? Let's say I sell and hunt. We're just going to make things easy. You have a $1,000 package that you hunt.
Okay.
What kind of percentage do you charge to sell and hunt for someone?
So if they're on the Guide Tech platform, it's going to be a 5%. Either it's going to be a 5 to 8%, depending on what tier you're on of our Guide Tech program. But it's going to be a 5 to 8% fee to the sportsman. So if it's a $1,000 hunt, they're either going to pay $1,050 or $1,080.
So, but the outfitter's going to get his full price,
The outfitter is going to incur the credit card processing fee.
and that's it.
There's a 2.9% credit card processing fee. Yeah, 3% credit
So
card
basically, you're going to be selling. If I'm an outfitter, Joe Bob's hunting in Montana, and I wanted to use you, and I want to sell elk hunts or goose hunts or whatever.
Right.
You're going to have a 3% commission basically is what's going to cost them. But the customer's paying 100% plus a 5% commission to you.
Correct. 5 to 8.
So you're going to get, so that's really a great deal because as an outfitter, if you're getting credit card deposits anyways, you're like our credit card machine's a little less than 2, but I've been with them for 30 years.
Sure.
So it's going to cost me 1% basically.
Right.
That's a really a good deal for someone. And you're going to do all the, and you follow up with the emails, the invoicing and everything. If we talk about something that we don't need to talk about, let us know. We can change this out. But when they book a hunt with you as an outfitter, you're going to do the booking. Then you're going to send me my money on a check or a credit card. How's that work?
It's all credit card. So you basically attach your bank account to Stripe. And so person books the hunt. It comes in as a booking request. There's no money transacted at that point. That stops double bookings and stuff like that. So the booking comes in, it notifies us and it notifies you. So your account manager is going to give you a call. If you don't, we have a lot of guys that just go ahead and just book their hunts, but everybody on Guide Tech has an account manager that works with them. So the account manager is going to say, hey, you know, you've got this booking, this 5-day booking this time. Your calendars are good, because the way it works is if you hold your calendars with our calendars, right? If you still got a pen and paper on the side, then how do I know when can we book this guy? Because we don't even know if you're really open on that day. So real-time availability is so crucial to our business with our outfitters. So it's going to come in. They're going to say, hey, you got a booking for this day. Oh, yeah, it's good. Accept it. So they're going to accept the booking. Then the money's transacted. The deposit goes in, goes to Stripe. Stripe takes the credit card fee. We hold our fee. And then it sends the rest to you, direct deposit.
So it goes straight to your bank account.
Correct.
Okay. Then, and we talked about this. I know this answer, but I'm going to ask it to you for our best it does it. So then I want to come to you and I said, hey, I'll tell you what I want to do. When do I get paid on the second end of my hunt?
Right.
Because like here, I settle up with people when they leave.
Right.
And I'm like, you want to do bird processing, gratuities, everything you can put on one deal.
Yeah.
So if they go to you, how does that work?
Yeah. So really on that time of booking, you have two options. You could pay a 50% deposit or whatever percent you want to do. It's totally customizable.
But you got to have at least 50%.
Well, unless you want 20%, it's completely customizable on the back end. You can do either a percentage-based deposit or you could do an amount-based deposit. Depends on exactly what the outfitter wants to do, we do. But standard's 50%.
Yes.
So it's standard 50% deposit up front. And then the standard is 2 days before your trip. That card that you paid with the deposit will automatically be hit at like 6:30 in the morning for that payment, so we can get you the outfitter his money before the weekend, because it only does it on business days, right? We've got some outfitters that take their second deposit a month out. We've got some that take it a week out, but standard it's 2 days.
What about like you come and hunt with me for 3 days, you book a hunt through Mallard Bay, you book your hunt, and it's a $10,000 hunt. You give me $5,000 up front. You owe us $5,000, and I get that the day before you come up to arrive.
Correct.
Okay. Then you leave, and you tip, and you're bird cleaning. Do they just pay me that directly?
Well, they could either pay you that directly, or we have a post-trip payments feature now. You can go on there. You can charge them. Say, hey, I want to tip. You talked about it. Hey, I want to tip you $1,000 on my credit card. Okay. Well, you go to the back end of Mallard Bay. You click on request payment. You type in tips. You type in $1,000. You hit send. It gets sent directly to their email. They hit yes on their email, and it's paid.
Okay, that's interesting, because that's every business is different, and we all prefer cash. If everybody knows that,
I do understand that.
But that's what I was wanting to know. So the payment situation on the second end, they get paid before. So it's kind of like going to Canada, because if you go hunt with an outfitter in Canada, I think most of them require the second half to be paid in full before you arrive.
Yeah, we work with a handful of guys in Canada. I've been hanging out. Do you know Ben Commodore with Cloud9?
Yeah, we had him on.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah.
He ruffled some feathers.
Oh, yeah?
So it was a fuck up on my end, because we had another podcast to do, and we kind of got off into the weeds of kind of his mentality of dog training.
Okay, I remember this.
And
guy
I knew, we had a hard out that we had to hit with him to do the next podcast. And it was a fuck up on my part as an interviewer, because I didn't have time to have him elaborate on his stance. It was just kind of, he said what he said, and it's like,
I see.
We got to go. Like, this is an hour-long topic that you just opened up here.
Yeah.
And we've just got to jump ship. So
I see.
It ruffled feathers. He took a lot of heat off of that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He took a lot of heat off of that episode, and it was more my fault than it was his fault.
Okay.
Because I didn't have time to vet what he was saying.
Yeah. No, I understand. But I mean, yeah, we work
Ben's a great guy, though. I love Ben.
I love Ben. But we do work for, I don't even know now, probably 12 or so outfitters in Canada.
But they all want to get paid before their second
Correct,
hand.
correct,
Because
correct.
they're not supposed to do American money transactions in Canada.
Right. And Stripe will automatically take your money and convert it to Canadian and send it over to you. And it's Stripe is a great company, except for their support's kind of not. You know, I mean, they use like call centers and stuff. So that's a big part of Mallard Bay is I'm going to be the one on the phone with Stripe for 2 hours while you're doing your other business stuff and figuring stuff out. I mean, just recently, Xfield Outfitters is Adrian Hill. It's an outfitter up in Canada. I helped him get set up with Stripe, and that was just going round and round with Stripe, and we finally made it happen. I think my representative's name was Nice. He's an Indian representative. But yeah, it's just that's what we're committed to do for the outfitter is taking on that kind of stuff.
And you told me yesterday you have different levels, and you've got
Yes,
a
we
level that does all the social media for you. So if you do something like that on Instagram, how often do you hit Instagram or Facebook with that?
I mean,
like let's say Stanfield Hunting and you're together, and I said, hey, I want the best package you got.
Yeah.
But I'm more interested in the marketing than I am anything. And you're going to market for me.
Yes.
How often would I see something put up on Instagram or social media that represents me from Mallard Bay?
And how do y'all get material too?
Yes.
So the material part, it takes working with you guys to like basically open up your Dropbox and saying, here's my content.
Yeah.
This is some of our favorites, post this kind of thing. Or you can, so Anna Richardson is, I think her technical title is marketing wizard, but she's our social media girl. And she's just a genius at what she does. She's a wizard, that's why we call her that. And she just tailors it and on how often will you see it. Ideally, every time you open up the app. We're really pushing different Facebook ads and different Instagram ads, but to give you like a number, I mean, off the top of my head, I'd be lying to you. You'd have to talk to us more about it.
Can Ann the Wizard get me unshadow banned?
We can sure try our ass off to do it.
You told me to email them. Do you remember that?
To email Instagram?
You told me, you said, email them and let them know you've been shadow banned. You told me that at Turkey. Do you remember this
I did say
conversation?
that. Yeah, I did say that.
Let me tell you something. You know how hard it is to find a fucking email
There's
to email
no
them?
email?
I couldn't find one. I looked and looked and looked and looked and said,
Yeah.
fuck it. I'll just be shadow banned for another 2 or 3 months. Because I have
Stop
not
posting dumb shit.
posted a picture of Hillary Clinton in lingerie and it said something about how to really fuck up our country or something. I don't remember what it was. But since then,
Yeah.
I have been shadow banned. I was averaging, I don't know.
You killed the algorithm for your own page.
I did. I used to get 100. I used to, on a average week, I'd pick up 100 to 200 followers.
Yeah.
I like minus 15 for the last 2 months. And it's funny, I'll look and I'll gain one, and the next day I'm 2 down low. And I think I'm getting rid of all the people that I didn't know anyway. I don't know. But
Yeah, I mean, look, I
Andy couldn't even find me the other day on there.
really.
Can't find J Stanfield 68. Can't find him.
And you're a verified account.
Yes.
That's wild.
They don't like me no more because of Hillary.
They got your money for that blue badge, and they're
Yeah,
like,
they
"Fuck
did.
this guy."
Did you have
They
to pay
hate-
for that? Or
no.
was it a,
He
no?
But
paid
Andy gives
for
me
it.
shit all the time.
He
Oh, okay.
fucking paid for
I don't
it.
have one card that's got a fucking any kind of charge at all. You think they're
paid
taking
for it.
cash?
I
You
know.
paid for it.
To be honest with you, I don't even know how it works. I don't know.
Well,
I know
can
you can
tell
pay
you-
for Twitter. You can pay for a verified on Twitter, but
It's the same with Meta.
I can't email to get some help. But anyways, so you do the marketing, you do the social media for them, you book the trips,
website.
and do you send them a list of what they need to bring and all that stuff, or do they do that themselves? Email them.
We can curate a trip itinerary for them. We do trip itineraries, we do trip contracts, different stuff like that we can put on their website. It's just built out to where it's all like outfitters like Toby with Cadillac Creek or Vince with Prairie Bomb or Whiskey Sloughs or many more. You can just go on their website. Like if you look up Whiskey Sloughs out of Nebraska, basically they're just saying, hey, if you want to book with me, go on my website and click book your hunt, and it pulls up Mallard Bay's booking page instead of saying, hey, if you want to book with me, go to my website and you type in a survey and we'll call you eventually, kind of thing.
Because every business is different and every outfitter's different, like all businesses are. Ours is different in some ways because I take care of all of that stuff, but that's my job here. I don't have to worry about nothing else. Tony's
Right.
taking all the outside stuff. Andy does social media. He does the Big Honker podcast stuff. He does this.
Right.
So we have different jobs we do. But that guy that hunts by himself, that's doing his own shit, that's a plumber during the day, and then he outfits in the winter, takes off for 3 months.
Yeah.
He needs your service because he don't have time to call people back and be on the phone all day
Absolutely.
long. Like during the middle of the day, I just checked. I left here just a minute ago,
Yeah.
and I checked. I have a guy that I need to call in just a minute when I get done here. But I check my machine. I call everybody every day.
Absolutely.
Unless I'm out of town, I check, and I'm usually costs me within an hour or so. A lot of guys don't have that time.
You're right.
Somebody like you is really a good system for them.
Yeah, and we've got guys like Corey Sexton with Land of Enchantment, great friend of mine, great business partner. He's going to Mexico, and he's already got my sales guy geared up. He's like, hey, I'm going to be gone for a week. You're taking all my calls.
Right.
Cool. We got you. You know, if we need to get a hold of you, we'll Snapchat or something. But yeah, if you just go back to the homepage. Oh, sorry. So we built this website. This is one of many that we've done. And if you scroll down, you can kind of
book your hunt on the right over there.
Yeah. You can kind of see different things, and Book Your Hunt pulls up all their listings. So if you want to click, I think one at the top was probably be the most active one right now. Yeah. You can click that. You click the package, the 3-day goose. Different outfitters have different pricing packages. But these guys have one particular package. If you click it.
Click it.
Yeah. And then continue.
Continue.
And then dates. You can go to the next available date and just click.
And so that calendar, it's basically blocked off Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You can pick any of these dates.
So if you click the first, it'll auto select all 3 of those days. So you would actually, with that particular package, you would show up Thursday, you'd hunt Friday, sleep Friday night, hunt Saturday, sleep Saturday night, hunt Sunday, leave. And then you can see there it's $2,400. So Whiskey Sloughs, they take on the sportsman fee and the credit card fee.
Right.
So it shows no taxes and other fees for them. So if you hit continue, it goes to the add-ons page. If you got, if you want to add breakfast to your trip, if you have a child with you, or if you want to add on a pheasant hunt, you can do that. And then continuing from there has more info about the trip, check-in time, if you got a coupon or a discount code. And see, there's the pay in full or the pay less up front. So if you click pay less up front, it'll automatically convert it to the 50% deposit.
Right.
And the thing that we built out too is if you book a trip within 2 weeks, your only choice is to pay in full.
Right.
Because as you guys know, being outfitters, a lot of people will put a deposit down and then be like, hey, I can't come anymore. And then you lost out on a potential sale with another client, right?
Right.
I don't think it'll take you next.
That's the funniest thing. I have guys that bitch about that. They book a hunt in, let's say you book a hunt in June.
Yeah.
And then December gets here, and whatever the reason is, you can't come on a hunt, and you call me, and you're like, well, I had a guy last year, well, I've got the flu, I can't come.
Right.
Okay, what about the rest of your guys in the group?
Yeah.
Well, if I don't come, they don't want to come.
Yeah.
Can we move our deposit to next year? No. You're sick. First of all, you're going to lose your deposit anyways. But if you're sick, truly sick, I might give you your hunt for next year and let you bring your deposit. But I'm not everybody else. Not everybody else is sick in that deal.
Yeah.
But people don't realize when you book a hunt with an outfitter, he's only got so many days to make a living.
Yeah.
If you don't show up, you lose your deposit. That's why you give a fucking deposit.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We're not a Hilton.
Right.
A lot of people think, well, you book a hotel room and you cancel within 24 hours, they give you your money back. Well, it's not that way in this business.
No, not at all. Yeah. Not at all. But yeah, we've done all kinds of cool stuff, man. Like one thing, like I was talking about last night, a super cool thing we started doing is Live in the Blind. Long story short, our first one was in Missouri at Blackwater Outfitters. We had Cameron Marlowe, John Langston, Stiles Hari, Megan Patrick, and Casey Tyndall all come. We did like a 3-day hunting festival event with food. That's where we met Brendan doing the cooking. This past year's was at Cadillac Creek. We had Co Wetzel, Mike Ryan, Chris Colston, and Dylan Wheeler. That was a hell of a time. We had about 400 people there at the Grandiza Event Center in North Amarillo. Had great sponsors for that show. We couldn't have put it on without everybody involved on team and sponsors and cooks and everything else. And it was a hell of a time. So it's kind of cool how we've, our core business model is Mallard Bay with our product is Guide Tech, right? But every once in a while, we'll kind of throw a wrench in there and, do something really cool with the community like that. We've also started kind of producing films. So the first one we really did was the story of Toby Brolin, the Panhandle Sportsman. I'm not sure if you guys have seen it, but if you go on YouTube, you can watch it. About I think 20, 30 minutes long, just in the life of Toby. We just released one right before Turkey Show, Generations of the Island. That's about CBI, Carter's Big Island with Roy and those guys. And then also Logan took part in the Road to 100 series that Ryan Bassham's doing, basically going around the world killing 100 species of waterfowl. So I know that's been airing out on YouTube. Logan's not doing it anymore. We just got too busy with the inner core of the business. But if you guys want to go check it out, it's a great film. He went and hunted in Sweden, and it was just incredible. There's the different styles of hunting over there. It's just so different.
Now, was that his idea? How did all that come about?
That was Bassham's idea.
It was his idea.
Yeah, I believe so.
And then he came to you guys and was like, "Hey,
yeah, we sponsor it."
Yeah.
Us, Montana Knife Company. I think Bassham's with First Light now with the actual production of the actual the camo worn on Road to 100. But yeah, that all came about with that, and I know they're releasing now on YouTube. I think they just went to Mexico while we were at hell, where were we? Were we at? I think SCI. I think at SCI they were in Mexico maybe.
What was in Sweden that they went after? It's not gray lags. Gray lags is Scotland, isn't it? Or do they have gray lags in Sweden also? Jeff?
I would say they probably do because I don't think it's very
both.
far. I would guess probably the same way. I'm probably I don't know if Eurasian widgeons are there in China.
Yeah, I know they had. I know tundra swan was one of them. I believe.
I think they also have a black swan
Or some
over
kind
there.
of swan. Yeah. But it was wild, man. They had them. They were hunting at night. They were
Really?
doing all kinds of. All the guns are legacy guns. Like you can't buy a new firearm in Sweden. It's got to be your great grandpa's, old boomstick.
You better be
basically.
shooting some boss in.
Damn right.
I had a friend that he went and hunted. Ryan, he went and hunted with the Indians. He was as wild as
Whoa,
shit.
whoa, whoa, whoa! We're not politically incorrect. The Native
The
Americans.
natives they weren't in Canada. Were they in Canada? Did they cross the border?
We call that Trudeau land. Yes.
Either way,
Trudeau
like
land.
corn over the places that they're hunting
Oh, yeah.
them like 20 minutes before shooting light.
I think it was dark.
Yeah, he's like, we had to. The only way we could see the ducks was the muzzle blast, and that's how you would gauge your second shot
Crazy.
was the light from
Yeah.
the muzzle blast. He's like, it's
Yeah.
the fucking wildest thing, because he's like, he's always done it in America. He's like, there's corn everywhere. Like,
Absolutely.
what are we doing here? He's like, I'll just shoot at them.
Yeah.
You're fine. And they fill up like a tote sack, and
Be done. Be done.
That's-
37.
that's when they go in.
37 wood ducks one morning.
Yeah.
One guy.
That's what's so crazy about, like, everybody's worried about the pintail population or duck population, mallard hens and everything. You shoot the shit out of them in Canada. You'll shoot 8 pintails, 8 mallard hens. You go into Mexico, and they're just
No limit.
obliterating them.
Yeah.
There's just not very many hunters though.
That's true. And one thing too to talk about is like season dates.
Yeah.
Hell, the birds are here now. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
right.
kind of wild. And,
Yeah.
we had, in Louisiana where we hunt out of Gaydon at Piro Hunting and Fishing Lodge is Logan and his dad's hunting outfitter. And I was telling Jeff yesterday, that's kind of how we started out was we were working with Piro and learning kind of how an outfitter works, the inner workings of it, so that when we talk to outfitters, we know what we're saying.
Right.
And we had a great teal season. And but big duck season came around, man. There's still a lot of teal in Gaydon, but it's like the ducks are just kind of showing up.
Right.
And,
Yeah. It's
what are we going to do?
So but different world we live in, and it's going to be different. It's really weird. It's going to change. I know that right now the nesting conditions are not very good.
That's what I've heard.
So really, really bad and bleak in a lot of places. And
Yeah.
That's got to be the hard part of y'all's job is you have to know the inner workings of all these different outfitters, because not every outfitter's going to run their bookings the same or just kind of the small nuances of the way that they run their business. And you have to answer for them.
Right. And that's a big part of Peyton's job. So Peyton will do all of the outfitter demos, and he almost kind of in the demo call, he will consult your business, figure out how you do everything, learn a lot about your business.
Right.
And then he'll be able to suggest truly what you need from our platform. Because like I said, Mallard Bay, like we're not like, look, we're a business. Everybody's here to make money, right?
Right.
But we're not here to make any money without our outfitters making money too, So it's very curated, like, hey, we don't want you paying for something that's not working. So that's why our marketing team is so active working with an outfitter. Like if you're on a marketing service, our marketing team will be with you anytime you call them, or they'll call you day in and day out, figuring out, hey, this is working, let's keep paying for it. This is not working, let's scale back the monies on this end. So like I said, we're just committed to our partners that are our outfitters and charters.
I'm really good friends with a guy that's good friends with an attorney that takes care of a lot of the top YouTube kids that do the video game shit. Them guys make
Streaming and all that stuff.
that
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
And he told me those guys told him the key is you got to put shit out every day. That's the key.
Oh, you have to
to
constantly
social
blast.
media. You need
Yeah.
to social media. If you have Instagram, you need to do an Instagram deal at least once or twice a day. If you do Facebook, but YouTube, whatever it is, you need to put some content out every single freaking day. And he goes, that's the key to that whole day game.
Yeah, we do stories and scheduled posts and stuff like that. So
Yeah, you have to do that.
yeah.
Well, it's been a very,
nutrition.
very enjoyable podcast. We'll have you on again and go over a bunch of stuff.
Awesome, yeah. Thank
We've
you, guys.
talked about everything in the movie, but
Yeah.
Mallard Bay, MallardBay.com?
MallardBay.com. Yes, sir.
Easy enough.
Yes, sir.
Instagram.
MallardBay.com, Instagram, Facebook. I believe Instagram or MallardBay_. If you're an outfitter or charter and you want to check out a demo, have a free demo with us, guidetech.mallardbay.com, or you can find it on the site, scroll down, and apply to be a guide today.
Easy enough. Listen,
awesome.
Wyatt, we really appreciate you coming out
Yes,
here.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Podcasts are so much better whenever you can sit across the table and
Absolutely.
kind of feed off of each other. So we
Absolutely.
appreciate you making the drive up here. It's been an enjoyable past couple of days. So
Yes, sir. Thank you guys.
Hey,
That's
thank you
it.
very much. God bless you, my friend. Safe travels going home.
Yes, sir.
To Houston. Ooh, I don't know anybody wants to live in Houston.
got to. Headquarters are there.
That's right.
All right.
Love you. Bye. Watch for deer.
Peace. Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, go check out all of our great sponsors. Dirty Duck Coffee, Dive Bomb Industries, Pacific Calls. We have a promo code there, BHP25. Boss Shot Shells, MLR Graphics. Baseball season's coming up. You need jerseys. Shin Gear, Looking Glass Podcast, Lucky Duck, Ducks Unlimited, Double T British Kennels, Mossberg, Alpha Outdoor Specialties, Hemp Hill Farm, BHP's promo code there, and Stanfield Outfitters.